And welcome back to another beautiful day or night in Sydney. My name is Jake Asterix Penko, and this is Bradley Teagun Seymour. And we're in week 3 of the OCS, which means now things are getting serious, Teagun.
I wouldn't say serious. I'd say we have a great game to start us off, but there's still plenty of the season to go.
There has been a big season so far. I mean, 2 weeks is big enough for me, but in the third, there has been some defining games already. Yesterday, we saw some games, but you may not have. So let me run you through it a little bit. Legacy Genesis took on Darksided, and for Legacy Genesis, they finally got their first win.
And an absolutely much-needed win for them after coming off 2 weeks where they were just misfiring. Perhaps the addition of Halo in the mid lane helped them out, or perhaps it was Bushy the day before his birthday is today, by the way, picking up Poppy. A very surprising pick in support. A
surprising picky to find himself, and a big happy birthday to him. But in the second series was Emprox taking on Mammoth Academy, and this was like a bit of a messy regicide going head-to-head.
A messy regicide indeed, especially with Yele rejoining his former teammates on Mammoth Academy, helping them pick up that win. Tell you what, there was a big effort from Chaz on Emprox. It just wasn't enough on the day.
He played the talent, he impressed us, but yeah, that's right, Teagun, not enough, sitting 2-1. But for the very last game of Wednesday, QUT Tigers are back up on top.
And again, they continue to surprise me. I was underrating them at the start of the season. I'll say it, I underrated them because in this game, even though Chungi went back to Yasuo, something he's shown us that he's good on, QUT across the board strong. Only one person on the team had more than 2 deaths.
Remember, it's about defining yourself. It's about making yourself look like a star of tomorrow. It begins here in the OCS, and in week 3, we have some exciting games to kick you off and make those stars shine. Our very first game will be Intuition taking on Crimson Gaming, who are both undefeated. Chiefs Academy taking on Tectonic Academy, who have been rising through the ranks.
And then, like you said before, it's about defining yourself, and we'll see that with Avant Academy taking on Ground Zero. And then to finish off the night, Bombers Academy going to look for that much-needed first win against Diacon.
I'm excited to finally see Ground Zero live. We've only seen them on the Wednesdays, but now they're jumping on the Thursday games. Our very first game, however, Intuition and Crimson Gaming. These are 2 teams who sit in our top 4 and are expected to finish in the same way.
I think you spot on, except Intuition have been expected to finish first by almost everyone, whereas Crimson expected to finish top 3. This is going to be their chance to prove they should be that #1 team. And with the slight change in rosters for Intuition, you see Fudge in the top lane instead of Fantix, they may have a little bit of an edge, but again, if there is a player that can fill Fantix's shoes, especially in top lane, Fudge is probably it.
And I think for Intuition, they've been maybe lacking that coach in Fantix. He's been on Summoner's Rift. It's hard to play with a coach in your roster. We saw that in the OPL from Order. But now, for Intuition, you've got Dream still in the AD carry position, and you've got a strong bottom lane. You can see why these guys are undefeated.
Absolutely can. And you say strong bottom lane, but that's where Crimson will look to play through with Reigning Advance, another strong bottom lane, especially in comparison to the OCS level. And I'm not sure that that's where Intuition can really focus. I think they are going to go to that new player, that brash young player in Dream. The question will be, for me, can Sirius remain that rock, that consistent player who can hold his own against anyone, against this new upcoming person?
Made a big impact last week. We finally got to see Crimson Gaming, and it was about Sirius. What could he do on the Ornn? I feel like that's a power pick, that one that Intuition cannot avoid. For Fudge, I guess the onus is on him now if he can keep up with such an experienced player.
And especially if we give him Ornn again. Ornn it's such a staple pick. You see it picked first very often because there isn't a champion that just straight up counters it. Cho'Gath, one of the better picks into it, but still, it's not like you take that into an Ornn lane and you're really, really happy about it. So we might even see it banned off to force more of a skill matchup up top to let Fudge really express himself in the game.
Either way, you're seeing Banner of Command up there, so it's going to get boring. Let's be honest, the tank battles continue and they don't get too exciting. However, in that bottom lane, now it's time to show that Reigning and Vance are 2 of the strongest bottom laners in this competition. They have a chance because Dream and Aladoric, they are big as well. But if they can beat that lane, they then prove that they are the better bottom lane.
And I think that's what it's all about, is proving they are. Because that has been the main question when you talk about their strength down in bot lane for Crimson is, they're good, but are they that good? Are they as good as Dream and Aladoric? Are they as good as even the Chiefs bottom lane, which we'll see later on? And this is, like I said, just across the board, the real test for Crimson is, does their bottom lane perform? Is Sirius able to perform up in top lane? Or maybe we're throwing a curveball and they both opt to play through mid lane.
Well, that mid lane, the mid lane has been huge for Intuition. It's Hayri. It's the rising star. I've watched this man grow. I've been like a daddy to him, right? And I have seen Hayri in the mid lane play the Rise, play any control mage in the world, and he comes out successful. What is this game going to change when you go up against Willaris, who has a very big brain?
I think we'll leave the big brain to Soul Strikes, but Willaris might just have the champ pool to counter it, especially if it is purely control mages. But I do think Hayri, especially with Fantix coaching him, will start to expand that champion pool. Maybe we'll see the Talon, which was played twice yesterday as well.
And we are actually into patch 8.10, so seeing that Talon was a bit of a surprise yesterday, but I was like, hang on, new patch, new rules, new game, new bans.
I feel like it's still a surprise. Mid laners generally on this patch are champions that can roam really early on to help secure Scuttle Crab. Scuttle Crab now in 8.10, a huge objective. A lot of junglers tell me it's more important than Rift Herald. I still don't believe them, but hey, they're smarter than me. So what we're going to see, especially mirrored in draft, is champions that can roam really early to really solidify that map control. So something like Zoe, which can roam early and wave clear and just get to the river. Pretty important. Maybe even Aurelion Sol, something like that.
Yep.
Instead of just focusing on jungle picks, even though there are some more strong picks on 8.10, such as Graves, which will be prioritized by both teams if it's not banned.
Graves, Trundle, two big jungle picks at the moment. Plug has come through from Legacy Genesis originally. Now going against Scam Diggity, who's been in the OCS for longer than he has. Let's see where the bans go. It's going to be the Morgana, the final ban, and I'm surprised we don't take any priority off Willaris, who loves a good Orianna game.
No priority on Willaris and no priority on jungle either. There is legitimately 0 jungle picks. If you can tell me one of these champions plays jungle, I will be impressed at a competitive level. You could make an argument, I guess, for Vladimir, but especially with the new Runic, but probably not going to happen.
Yeah, that's an Ezreal, though. The first pick for Intuition, and Dream gets his comfort all over again. Double tier meta. Still kicking in 8.10.
And I assume Crimson are going to pick up Caitlyn. It's not banned. That seems to be the standard down bot lane, Ezreal versus Caitlyn.
Or you can just pick Kaiser, Tegan. You can just pick Kaiser and Aurelia.
I can't fault him for that. Kaiser's still really strong. It was a champion that we saw sort of ignored in the first week, and I was really confused by it. And now we have a really good ADC in Raining picking it up. Really expecting a lot of work down the bot lane because I don't think you take teleport on Kaiser if you pick it. So I think what Crimson will likely do to end this draft is try and work towards a support counter pick.
Okay, that makes sense. For me, that bottom lane is still going to be the main focus. So the Zoe gets locked in, and you were mentioning it before. Taking that away from Willaris, I feel like with the composition that's building for Crimson Gaming, maybe that was a smart idea. The Trundle taken away as well. Now you've only got Graves.
Not only are you taking it away from Willaris, like I said before, you want champions that can roam to Scuttle at 2 minutes into the game, and there's not a lot of champions that have that ability. Zoe is, fortunately for Intuition, one of those champions, so we see already from their picks, their plan is to try and help their jungle out, even though it isn't Graves, it isn't Kha'Zix, it isn't this really strong individual jungler, to secure the Scuttle Crab, or at very least get one and not get double crab.
And I mean, I see that 2-minute jungle, that Scuttle Crab, as the Ornn actually changed. That's interesting because Scam has no priority now on the Graves jungle.
So that to me says
Aurelia
like
mid
that.
You did not like that at all.
I feel like Intuition will likely ban out Graves here, and Crimson is suddenly down to what we would say is not the S tier, the top tier. They're down to the A tier, the second tier of junglers.
Yep.
And it seems a little strange to me, but we did say before pick ban even started, Ornn top the series is a priority. So there is an argument to be made. Do you make that concession, take the Ornn top lane to slow down the new kid in Fudge, and just play with your laners roaming to help him secure early jungle camps?
Maybe it enables him, maybe it gives the series the comfort that is going to, as you said, get Crimson Gaming ahead. But remember that Aurelia, the flex capabilities kind of off the board, that looks to be Willaris in the mid lane. You ain't going to see that all down the bottom lane. So they're getting rid of the top comforts for Fudge, and now the targeting begins.
You say you're not going to see it in bot lane, but I've stopped making those assumptions. And it has been played support, so we'll give them the benefit of the doubt, although it's almost certainly Aurelia mid or on top. Graves banned out, so Intuition also believe that. They don't believe either champ will be flexed into jungle. Cho'Gath and Camille banning those top champions. I said before, Cho'Gath is good into Ornn to get Ornn into a better matchup. Wow. So we already see their focuses shifting. Perhaps Intuition fully believe Fudge is fine top, has a deep champion pool, can play whatever he wants. Whereas Crimson decide top's an important place to make sure they don't get steamrolled.
It's his very first game on the OCS. Yeah. You want to make sure he's uncomfortable as much as possible. And I feel like Crimson Gaming have ensured that with limited picks on the board. Scam Diggity, he's backed himself in the corner because of it. And now we'll see which one is the better trade-off.
Well, Skarner's pretty much the obvious pick here. It's I would say top 2, maybe top 3 remaining. We see Zach banned out. I'm not a huge fan of Zach right now.
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to happen.
Let's talk more about Zach. I'll interrupt you in 7 seconds, Tegan. No, that's fine.
There we go.
We're back.
I mean, Gangplank's cool as well, all right, but it's no Twitch.
All the champions are cool, Tegan. All the champions of League of Legends are cool.
So Zach recently got a little change. People say it's a nerf or a buff, but we haven't seen a lot of priority on him anywhere, really. So to see it banned out, that reads to me more that they've done their research, they know what Scamdig's good at, and banned it out.
That is a series insult there, flashing the Wukong. It will be the final lock-in of the Alistar. Gangplank in the top lane, and I feel like for Intuition, I'm really starting to love this composition.
I'm a big fan of it. I think that taking Gangplank last, it's going to do fine in the lane. He'll very naturally outscale due to how the gold works from his passive. And if you want a champion that's reasonably safe, Gangplank is one of them. He's not the best, but he has oranges to get out of any sort of CC. He can farm from range with his barrels, so he's going to do fine up there. As we see Tarek locked in. Tarek into Alistar, so it's a little bit of a tank versus tank, but Tarek, I think, is massively underrated in support. I think the ultimate, which doesn't get enough credit, can be ridiculously game-changing if executed well. So I like the pick, but it is a high skill cap champion. So Van's going to have to perform really well, which we know he can, to get the most out of it.
But Tegan, for Crimson Gaming, this is 4 melee champions with Kaiser, who has one of the shortest ranges in the game. So this is a very small composition where the Cosmic Radiance is going to make work.
That's why they take the Tarek, because they know that their whole team is going to want to go in together, so he'll likely get at least 4 of them, if not 5. And you have engage tools in the Ornn, in the Skarner, and even in Aurelia. So all of them can get in and get together. It's a question of, can they get all the cylinders firing, get them all on the same page, and work together?
But I see a lot of comforts sat around the board. I see Hayri, who has played the control mages, played the assassins, he knows it all. And he'll be taking on the Zoe against Willaris in that mid lane. That's an Aurelia, and this is outside of Willaris' comfort zone, watching his previous OCS matches. So this will be a big question mark for me.
And the big fight in that mid lane is going to be how chunked does he get by Zoe's poke. If he's at about 75-50% health when the mid laners are called to help the junglers, he is way less influential than Harry. So he might even have to concede CS early on. We may see him just sort of letting Zoe manipulate the wave, as we know Harry will. And it's going to be difficult. I think what we'll likely see is them try to trade scuttles instead of fight for the same one.
But let's jump on to Summoner's Rift, ladies and gentlemen. Intuition taking on Crimson Gaming, our very first game of Week 3 of the OCS, and it is going to be a doozy.
Now, both teams fanning, but I feel like they both need to try and figure out where the junglers are starting, more so from Crimson. Like I said before, Crimson are going to struggle with helping out the Skarner, especially from the mid lane with Aurelia, likely to get poked down a little bit early on. He does have Corrupting Potion to sort of slow that down, but it will become a big thing. With the fan, you don't really get that huge information, and more importantly, you don't get to activate Skarner's towers, which you're going to see Intuition take the top one while Crimson take the bottom one.
Well, that's 15 gold. Share it, ladies and gentlemen, share it. That's 30 gold. That's already dangerous. No, I'm just kidding with you. For Intuition, I want you to keep your eyes peeled on the mid lane. For me, as Plug takes that ward, I feel like Hayri and Willaris are going to be going nice and early, playing towards that 2-minute advantage of the Scuttle Crab like you talked about, Tico.
I think Plug getting that ward is pretty big. It seems like a pretty small thing in the grand scheme, but wards now with their longer cooldown because of 8.10 and the priority on Scuttle Crabs, that's a pretty big loss for them just at level 1 already.
See the top laner with a quick leash for Plug. He'll go back up. A blue start for Plug, actually, is one thing to notice as Scamdiggy walks down to the Raptors.
Now, with Harry pushing in mid lane, are both of these junglers going to end up going for the top crab? Or does Scamdiggity recognize that Plug is likely going to be able to fight for it a bit harder and roam down to bot lane, which is what it seems like is going to happen. Scamdiggity will go to blue and then possibly bottom crab, whereas Plug, only level 2, goes straight in there to secure it.
It's going to be the first. I love how it glows now. It's got attitude.
Now, for those that don't know, crabs give more gold, more experience, and in general are just better for you now as a jungler. After both are killed, only one side respawns. That's why both of them sort of rushed to the crab, because they're very important to take early on to help your clear, as we've seen engage in mid.
Not going to be taking anything. Hayri and half health, he'll just have to pop the potion. But Willaris will do the same with the corrupting potion anyway.
So Willaris is going to go for a lot of those trades where he gets in, gets the stun, and gets out. That's the basis of Aurelia. do your stuff, and get out of there before the opponent can react. And he needs to do that with how much Harry is going to be looking to poke him down. You see Harry throwing the paddle star constantly. Every now and then, if he does end up landing a Sleepy Trouble Bubble, that's going to be a lot of damage Valaris is going to have to soak up. And the question for me is, how much is too much? He's already down a little bit of CS, not actually how much the numbers represent because of the big wave there. But it will slowly grow over time. When do the junglers kick in? When do you call Skarner there straight away at level 6? Or do you just sort of absorb the damage and hope that later on you're more influential?
Well, for people who've been following the OCS, Valaris and Scam Diggity have been a two-man unit. It's all been about the interaction in the mid lane. And Valaris can survive with or without his help. In the past, it's been about him, but we haven't seen Plug and Harry. The interaction has not been there. And finally, in Week 3, we might get to see where the priority of Plug truly is.
I feel like, especially with the addition of Fudge, the priority might change. It might end up top. I think, as we've seen engage bot, we're just going to see a bit of poke here. Aladoric will probably pop the most of it. I think the priority is going to end up in this game in mid lane for the early game, and then end up top with Fudge. Like I said before, great player. Lots spoken about him as they engage getting down bot.
See, the thing is, second skin is so easy to proc this early on. Level 3, but the Ignites pop down. Intuition, one first blood. Dream flashes forward. He gets it. Vans walks away, and Plug comes in just to seal the deal.
Plug coming in right there doesn't do much. The big deal there was Aladoric getting the double knock up, getting the re-engage after Vance had engaged, doing what is most of the heavy lifting in that engage, and now Dream with a kill early, with the teleport still up, whereas Raining has used his. Kai'Sa did take teleport. He's going to go back, get a tier, most likely, might even opt for Sheen if he's feeling a little different. And now that Ezreal lane has snowballed faster than you expected, the whole game is how quickly does he get effectiveness out of his double tier, and he's going to be a good few minutes in front of where he should be. Because
of this early start, I feel like we're going to see a lot more jungle priority from Plug. Kick them while they're down, and a Kai'Sa Taric, this early on, they don't really have the escape. You don't have, you know, the ultimate to jump to. You don't have anything to work with, really.
Their escape is fighting. That's what we saw. Their escape is trying to hurt them before they get hurt, as we see Plug now trying to influence mid lane.
Valaris gets the stun, he used it too early, he has to flash away. Plug is making things happen early, and although this time he was much bigger influence, and Harry just walks, he flashes forward with the help of W. Valaris struggling a little bit in this lane now. Maybe not. Scam comes through, level 4.
One thing we didn't touch on earlier was Ceres also TP'd down bot. He did end up cancelling it, as we saw on the screen. Losing TP in the top versus top matchup is pretty big. Once he gets poked out, he's going to end up losing a wave, maybe 2. And in a matchup where he's already going to be losing in gold, just by how Gangplank works, that's going to come back to bite him in about 5 minutes' time, where Gangplank will likely be up half an item or a full item.
But across the map, feels like Intuition are just on the board. There's a small gold lead. It's nothing to frown at just yet if you're a fan of Crimson Gaming, but the Tiamat onto Plug, he'll be able to clear so much faster, and now with that tier, with the Cull as well onto Dream, he'll start stacking up nicely.
Cull's a very interesting choice. I assume it comes down to what gold he backed on, but like we said, Ezreal scales when his double tier kicks in. Adding Cull to that mix makes it even more difficult to deal with him when he gets to that point. And as we see Raining also pick up a Cull, it's sort of neutralized, but it also means there was no real worry about picking up that Cull. He's not delaying anything, he's just going to stay even with the Kai'Sa.
This is so annoying. Intuition's bottom lane going to get a slow push on this wave. It's going to eventually set itself back up, but Crimson Gaming are missing out. Dream went back, he fell down a bit on CS, but now it doesn't matter. For Raining, he has to get the Ginsus. That's the first item for Kai'Sa that'll make a difference.
The very smart thing about that slow push is it's going to equalize the CS difference. You did say, and you were right, that Dream did fall down a little bit in CS, and that's how you fix it. Deny minions. Let the wave sit there. There's no reason they have to push it there. They won't get it in before Kai'Sa gets back. So they do the smart thing. They sit there and give Ezreal even more time to charge up his tier.
Interesting early game. 7 minutes in already, I think Crimson Gaming, a little bit unexpected. Scam Diggity hasn't really been anywhere just yet. He came in level 4 in the mid lane, but we haven't seen him since. Plug, as soon as he gets that level 6, as soon as he comes back into this mid lane where you have to expect that'll be the location next, as he is at the Raptors now. Maybe for Valaris, he'll find himself in a bit of trouble.
I feel like it has to be mid for Scam Diggity, but he has to find a way in. He's walked over a ward, so he's not going to get in that way. As Willaris takes a lot of damage, you already see a CS discrepancy starting to form, and it'll only get worse if they're left unattended, because I don't see a way for Willaris to really get on and kill Harry, especially without Flash. Unless he manages to land a stun and get everything done inside the wave, he'll likely just get bubbled and disengaged.
Because of this information control, and because mid lane is just so hard pushed, Intuition find themselves a nice early blue. Plug will smite it away, and Scam Diggity, I'm not even sure he's aware of this one.
He even gets the crab on the way out. That is brilliant play by Intuition, removing the blue buff. Obviously, Crimson not placing a big priority on it because they don't have a mana-hungry mid. And now they come away with an extra crab and an extra buff. Even though Crimson don't want that mid, that's EXP for Skarner. That's CDR for Skarner, who is really defined by his ultimate. Pretty big objective gain from Intuition.
For a squad that I think was going to be so much more proactive, Intuition have showed me they're on top of the game. And when you see the Crimson Gaming members, you always say, oh, this early game is always tough for them. But this game, this is a bit of a flop, a bit of a floopsy doodle. I don't know, a flip-flop. It's the other way around, Tegan. Maybe for Scam, it's going to be a little bit different. He's going to look for Plug and will not get the stun up. Locked again, disarmed as he walked out with Laris. Gets the ultimate, but now he's ignited and takes a step too far forward. Plug as well takes a turret shot. It's a bit of a strange occurrence. It's a 1-for-1.
I saw that TP. I thought it was Fudge. I believe they actually double-channeled it. But Dream ends up in mid lane. I'm wrong. Fudge TP top. Now we see Series TPing in mid lane and taking a lot of damage.
Okay.
The worst part of Series TPing mid there, he had to do it to really save that
I think the worst part is Tegan, there's a gangplank in the top lane with Trial by Fire.
You are spot on. He is in top lane. He's denying a huge wave, getting damage on that turret, which he was already going to be winning against him in the straight 1v1. And now Series is going to be down 20 CS and a bit of turret health, which is, in my opinion, more important. To
a very nasty Pirate at this stage of the game. That is not where you want to be. And Crimson Gaming don't need this condition against them. There's almost a 2,000 gold lead for Intuition at 10 minutes in the game, and it has been purely because of the map control that they've showed in this early part of the game.
And what they used that map control for was to get that counter gang off mid. They used the map control to know where Scam Diggity is as they come in on Willaris here.
Oh, Willaris is not good. That's a great stun, but Fudge has just countered this one up. 4 members. The Aurelia's like, I don't know what to do here. Peekaboo! And he's going to go down to Dream.
I tell you what, he made the absolute best that he could out of that. He almost got away with that flash, except Zoe and Ezreal, obviously two very mobile champions, did end up chasing him down. And again, map control lets them do that.
Well, Vance wants to take the fight to them, but it's a little bit too late for that. You've got 2 kills on the Ezreal with the Sheen. At this point, he is not killable with the help of Aladoric. Raining hasn't got the Ginsus yet. The Kaiser going to make no impact in comparison to this Ezreal.
The big problem not having that Ginsus is because he opted for the cull early, he's delayed the item spike.
Series! Oh, there's a flash.
I thought he was dead. I'm going to be honest, I thought Harry had done it. He'd landed the bubble, got the max range paddle star, almost got the kill. He was doing work there. As we go back to the bot lane, taking that cull, while it's going to help you in the long run, delays that Ginsus that he so desperately needs.
All the Forge God was used just there, and now jumping on with the Drowsy. Scam flashes forward, gets the slow. Harry's been impaled. Is this going to be a kill for Willaris? It actually goes over to Scam, but Crimson Gaming fight back.
That was a big investment with a big payoff there, taking down Harry. Now you'll see the wave will push in, hopefully, and it looks like they've actually committed to a swap. They've been putting Ornn mid, they've been putting Aurelia top, using the flexibility of both champions. As we know, both of them can be played top, so might as well flip them around, try and find the better matchup. And I think that's what really led to that kill. I doubt Harry was expecting to get 3-man there. It didn't seem like a really opportune time, but Crimson made it work, got the advantage, and now I assume Aurelia is going to do better at stalling that Gangplank out as he's got that tower to about, if I had to guess, about 30% health.
And maybe it gives confidence for Crimson Gaming, winning through the mid lane. We did say that was a big point of focus. Both of these laners took Ignite. And with the Conqueror on Aurelia, as soon as you get that Trinity Force, as soon as you get that first item, Aurelia's going to have a great time, and Harry might not be as confident as he has been. 1-1-1, hasn't got the first item, has opted in for the Seeker's Armor Guard and the Lost Chapter, so between items at the moment for Intuition's mid lane.
He still does a lot of damage even without items though, as long as he's able to land those Trouble Bubbles, as long as he's able to then chain it with the max range Paddle Star, he's going to be alright, and it'll help him sort of work into the mid game a bit faster than he normally would.
I think it's the top lane and the bottom lane right now for Intuition that are leading the gold charge. And Fudge, there's no doubt, but bottom lane, Dream and Raining, that's one we can obviously see is plain as day. About an 800 gold lead or 700. It's making a big difference here.
The biggest difference in bot lane, not just the gold, is how fast he's got the items that need to stack, as we see Aladoric engage.
Aladoric says move and walks back in, but Raining now holding his own.
Now, a lot of those engages you'll see Aladoric there do are just to stall out and let his ADC farm. They're not really meant to try and get anything out. They're not trying to get a summon. They're not trying to get a kill. They're just going to try and buy breathing room, as we see Scam Diggity pretty much steal away Dragon here.
I think this is a really good response. I mean, Rift Herald hasn't been started up. There's a lot of vision control up there, but Scam get the free Ocean Drake. They do lose first Tower of Blood in the response.
It's really worrying how quickly Fudge is getting ahead. They have a great, as we see another bubble lamp, but Scam Diggity comes in.
That's a fast Skarner. He gets stunned up. He's going to impale him back, and SpaghettiOs for Harry. Will he go back into plug? The question is there, but will not be the commit. It's a 1-0.
That's, I want to say, the third time Willaris has landed a very important stun, especially as his teammates are linking in. Scam Diggity, like you said, zooming on into that mid lane to link that ultimate. And that's what they need to do, is start trying to accelerate the game a little bit, get these kills, get the farm lanes out of their lanes, because the longer Gangplank sits in top lane, the longer Ezreal sits in bottom lane, the harder it will be for Crimson to sort of take this game away from them.
Just a side note, I love watching the new Aurelia CS. It is so satisfying, even more so than the last one. It is so satisfying.
It's satisfying to do. It's not satisfying to play against because it's impossible to work out where she's going to be in a few seconds to try and land anything.
Yasuo 2.0.
I would say it's... I'd say it's worse than Yasuo.
Worse than Yasuo. Who would have ever thought? A 2K gold lead for Intuition, and what's not worse than Yasuo right now is the way Ezreal's going, because Dream's got his Triforce. The Triforce on the side of Willaris, and these first item power spikes may be going to change the flow of the game at 14 minutes here.
It's very interesting to me that he went to the Trinity Force before Manamute. That, to me, says he wants to be stronger earlier to stop perhaps Crimson grouping up and utilizing Guinsoo's as it's a strong first item. So he's trying to combat that early scaling of Kaiser by taking the Trinity Force, but it delays his double tier, and I think that's their real win condition. They have scaling champs, Gangplank, Ezreal, both pretty good with scaling, and they're slowing it down.
Do you think it's a case of them being more scared of maybe Willaris the way he's going? Because the mid lane is starting to become a real crux for Crimson Gaming.
It might be. I think if he was really scared of Willaris and also Scam Diggity, he might have went for Frozen Fist, Iceborne Gauntlet instead.
Nice.
But he's opted for the Trinity Force, which will help him do more damage as we see.
This was a steal that's gone wrong for Plug. Raining gets one, teleports there, flash forward. But look at Scam, he is literally a conveyor belt of movement.
He's going to go back in here too.
Remember, the oranges are there, he can get out of this, but the suppress is already onto him. Hayri knocked up, Crimson Gaming collapsed for their second.
And we were talking about Intuition's map control leading to their kills. Here they overextend. Crimson have fought back, got that vision back on their own side, and they benefit from it. They catch Plug, they catch Harry, and now this will give them a lot of breathing room. It's not going to net them any real big objectives. It might get them Rift Herald, actually, but it's not going to get them a tower for, you know, the next few minutes. It just stops what was some really oppressive pressure coming from Intuition.
I think for Crimson Gaming, they saw that the top side was never going to be winnable after Series is committed so much. They let Fudge get the top turret anyway, and now it's changed to, we've got Ocean, we're looking for Rift Herald, and now we're going to look for the fight on the bottom side. That's Raining. He's not going to go invulnerable in time, and Vans comes close. He should die here as well. Making sure he goes absolutely nowhere. The Dazzle doesn't connect, but Aladoric, get the cowbell ready, knocks him down for a few, and they're actually going to let Vans go.
That GP ultimate was so important there. You saw how close Raining was to going invulnerable. Without that GP ultimate, it does not happen. So Fudge showing he is aware of the whole map, not just his lane, and influences the bot lane as well.
They're all going to charge its way up at the mid lane turret. Harry goes in, but this turret is gone. They have to be careful. Willaris committing to the dive, but Fudge is here to protect.
This shouldn't really amount to it. Actually, never mind.
Maybe not. Willaris has found the engage to disarm onto Fudge. He can't do anything. Harry's the target. He's the first one to drop. Plug comes in. He's used the ultimate, but the Ornhorn will sound onto Aladoric, and this is not good whatsoever. A double going to the Aurelia mid.
This comes to a term that we used other days, is ease of execution. Crimson have a very easy comp to execute as long as they're on the same page, and they are. We see the Ornhorn, the Skarner ultimate, and Willaris landing some brilliant stuns on this Aurelia. And that's bringing them back into this game that they were slowly losing across the board. Now in a part where they can team fight, they can group up, they're starting to take it to Intuition, who aren't looking like they're prepared for it.
But remember, for Intuition, they've been in the OCS for so long, they placed first as Outlaws. This is a split with 14 teams, and Intuition, they are been such a dominant team. Now this is a head-to-head that is very dangerous, and Crimson Gaming, from a 2K gold deficit, have fought their way back.
Absolutely, I would say they're almost winning right now. Even though the gold is even, they've won, I want to say 3 team fights in a row now, pretty much. That's, not only is that important to bring back the gold lead, but also the morale. When you start losing fight after fight after fight, especially when you know you're ahead in gold, you start not wanting to fight. You start wanting to split push or just sort of stay away and try and pick instead. And if Crimson can get in Intuition's head and get them to shy away from fighting, they'll start to dictate the pace of the game, dictate where things are controlled and where Intuition are going to have to react.
140 gold for Rift Scuttler. What has our world become, Tegan? Well, Laris will just get more and more resources, and you saw he's about 1,600 gold over Hayri. I'm sure that's continuing to grow. He's matched the CS. The Sterix gauge going to be coming soon, and that 2-item Aurelia at 19-20 minutes is going to want to continue fighting. Intuition right now, not sure if they can take it.
I don't see how they stop Aurelia from getting to the backline. As we see it dive starting.
Finally, the ultimate does connect, but Raining is 4 members underneath the turret. He'll ulti. He will not get the trade. Vance has gone way too deep, and they'll get the slow. It's 2 for Intuition. They're fighting back in a big way. Scam gets tagged by Barrel, flashes away. He'll get the suppression, but can he get out alive? It looks like that answer is no. Aladoric will die for it, but a 3-for-1 ain't bad.
It is a shame Taric ultimates don't also help turrets, because even though they're invulnerable, it doesn't matter. The turret goes down and suddenly they are unprotected. Intuition chase them down, and this will probably be an inhib for them.
Willaris is chasing forward down middle lane. No one is matching. They'll get the bottom lane turret. They'll now get the inhibitor, but can Willaris trade at all? Can Series delay the backs?
I don't think he can. I think Willaris might get the tower, but they're not going to equalize the inhibs, and most importantly, that's bottom inhibitor. That's the inhibitor that opens up Baron for the opposing team, as Series tries his best to slow them down.
No one's backed. It's only Aladoric. The next wave is too far out, but he'll stay anyway. Finally gets it, Aladoric. Probably doesn't want to be there. And it'll be a trade for Crimson Gaming, but one less than the other.
That's definitely not a fight you want to take as a support into a pretty fed Aurelia. But back onto the inhib lane. That is... Ooh, these are some dangerous backs.
Oh, gone drowsy. Sleepy, and he gets it! Peeks his way over. Hayri on fire. Van's walking forward again, and ladies and gentlemen, this is why Intuition have been dominating, but on the backside, Willaris has joined the fight. The Fed Aurelia doing everything he can. Series walking away, Scam in the middle of it, and Intuition starting to clean up. Fudge stays healthy on the back, and Vans is out, but will Willaris join? He's drowsy, he flashes forward, and Hayri starting to do some cleaning himself.
This is what makes Zoe so good for your team as a champion, is her ability to pick up anyone.
Oh.
I think they're going to get Series here also.
Look, this is a dive maybe he doesn't want to take, but he'll get it anyway. Intuition find one more member to clean.
That's Baron for them. That's definitely Baron for them, and they've earned it. Harry with a couple great trouble bubbles into max range paddle stuff, weaving them through opponents who are trying to block and soak them. Very, very smart by him. This is why Zoe is so important for teams that have players like Harry, who are persistent, who know how the champion works and know how to weave those paddle stars through. He catches Raining, then he catches Willaris. With all of these just slow, methodical plays, instead of taking these real big 5v5 slam your head against each other team fight.
And that's what Intuition have really been good at. They've been maybe slow, maybe methodical, but they've been very calculated in their OCS game so far. I think for Crimson Gaming, it's been so back and forth. Now we have to question if Intuition can find themselves another inhib and maybe break more of the base.
I think the only thing that hasn't been calculated from Intuition was what Dream was about to purchase, because he undid his items about 3 times as he was working out what to do. Does end up with a tier, so we are going to see him scale into that double tier build. I think you were right though. I think they do try and work out a second inhib here. I don't think they go back to splitting and having GP in one lane, the team in the other, even though they do have a comp that's conducive for that as they take the Dragon. What we'll likely see is them sitting in mid lane or top lane and Fish with Zoe for bubbles to engage on. They're just going to be sitting there waiting till he hits a target that they know they can explode on and work with that.
pick selection has been pretty good from Intuition. Working on their targets. I think now Intuition, they go up towards the top side, and Crimson Gaming have to be careful where they step. It's a 5k gold lead, but it's one that Crimson Gaming are not out of yet. You've still got that Aurelia. You've got now 2 items. Raining. A Kaiser's always going to be a condition for success, and no matter what, you can never count out a composition like that. So let's see where this progresses. You've got the experience of an OCS first place team, but on Intuition, you got the experience of OPL players and an OPL coach.
Now, I said they were going to sit mid, but what they've done is send GP up top to shove the wave, get the wave in, and make it even harder for Crimson to deal with, having 2 Baron waves coming in. And on top of that, Intuition took control of the jungle, so they can't even quickly navigate between top and middle. That's going to result in both inners coming down. That mid one will shortly fall. And then it's up to Intuition to decide which tower do they siege on for the inhib.
I'm going to back off. Finally now, there is only 1 inner remaining. It's mid lane. Intuition have their eyes set on the prize.
I think Crimson are going to start to look for an engage pretty soon. Not going to be on this tower, but very much will be on the next. The question is, can they get the Ornhorn onto priority targets and then link up with the Aurelia stun with the Skarner ultimate? Or do they just sit in their base and wait for the next big objective, Dragon or perhaps another Baron, before they pull the trigger?
Because nothing's up shortly. I mean, Intuition just getting majority of this map, which means more gold, which means more 140 gold from Scuttle Crab. Willaris has been kind of the core in this game, has quickly become the last resort for this game.
And you were telling me earlier a story about how Crimson in the past have been down 6k, 7k gold, but have then come back into the game to win it. They are that resilient team that knows how to navigate this sort of situation well. We see that with them coming up, taking their red side. Skarner's going to take the walls, getting every little bit of gold out of the map they can before Intuition come back to siege up a tower.
And let's not forget that that mid lane is open. That inhibitor is a window for success for Crimson Gaming. So let's see how they can optimize to maybe take the fight to Intuition. They're pushing up mid, and this is a big moment.
I love where Scam Diggity is. You don't want everyone to come from the same direction, so he's sharking around, trying to get behind this team. Unfortunate for him, Intuition's done the right thing in position above him.
Crimson Gaming now choosing to fight. The Ornhorn will come in once again, but Aladoric gets the knock-up on the series. That could have been huge. The pillar the front line getting taken down, a double-man knock-up, but for Crimson Gaming, they are falling super fast. It's 4 members left. Another knock-up. Aladoric, truly spectacular in this game. Dream will be on the backside cleaning house, and there is nothing Raining can do, with Hayri making short work of everybody, joined by Fudge, the rookie in the top lane.
You said Aladoric's knockup might have been influential. It absolutely was. Ornn dying there, especially before he knocks his horn back, is what changes that fight and makes it so, I almost want to say, easy for Intuition. The second that Ornn ultimate is gone, they have no real big fear of a game-changing fight happening. And that's what wins it for Intuition.
You would think that Intuition weren't going to just take it through the Nexus, but they did. They beat Crimson Gaming, and they're 3-0 undefeated.
Fudge didn't die.
Fudge did not die.
100% KDA for him in the OCS.
Hold that stat, love it, enjoy it. Fudge had a very good first game. I think we did a lot of target bans on the side of Crimson Gaming, and it was like, I'll take gameplay.
Yeah, they took Ornn early. They double banned against him in the second rotation. Didn't matter. He gets Gangplank. He plays nice and safe, influences the map with his ultimate, and comes out on top in what I would say is a great debut for him.
100% for Fudge. I don't think we're expecting maybe this caliber. Well, okay, we're expecting...
We were.
He's number 1 in the ladder right now. Like, he's number 1 at OCE. There are some expectations, but to jump from that to competitive play so successfully, that's a very good start.
I would say it's exactly the start he needed. Sometimes when players are hyped up and they come in and they sort of misfire in the first game, it really haunts them.
Oh, 100%.
But this kid's come in, performed well. I can't wait to see more of him.
Exactly right. That's going to be a convincing win. Intuition take one over Crimson Gaming, and things are only just heating up. We're going to go to a short 5-minute break, and when we return, Chiefs Academy and Tectonic Academy spice things up even more. Hey, lovely people. Welcome back to the OCS. My name's Jake Asterix, Penko, Bradley Teagun Seymour, as always. We saw a bit of a banger of a game to kick things off, but now we've got another banger to follow through.
That first game absolutely delivered. And now we have Chiefs versus Tectonic. Chiefs Academy, they're going to want to end up 3-0 like Intuition have, so this is a pretty important game for them.
I think for Chiefs Academy, they've shown us their prowess already. They want to make sure they stay in a commanding position, but you know exactly where I'm going to look at? The top lane in Panda, because this Riven gets banned every week, well, last week, and I want to see it again.
I do as well. I want to see it again, but Froggadog, he's a player you probably know a lot about, given he's been around in the OCS for a while. He will probably be able to deal with it if I had to guess.
I think Froggadog has shown his experience in the past. We've got a new jungler there on the side of Tectonic Academy, Adeptus, coming in for his first week.
Bringing in a new jungler on 8.10, there's not much for a bigger change you could give a player than that. And against him, you have Bose. We saw Bose last week. He got ahead, and we saw what he does with a lead.
That dude was going 800 kilometers an hour through the jungle, man. You want to put a Kha'Zix on Moby boots with, like, max move speed and celerity and everything? Go for it.
I'm scared of what he's going to be able to do if he manages to secure both scuttles early on.
But there's been moments with Tectonic Academy where they have been able to take an early lead and advance that throughout the game. This is a much more experienced roster in Chiefs Academy, but for Tectonic Academy, they have shown some real strength throughout the weeks.
I want to see them pick for early game. If they do what I think is probably going to be the strongest thing on this patch is pick a strong mid that can roam early, pick a strong bot lane that can push the other bot lane in, you're going to see a lot of priority on junglers as well. If they're able to secure double scuttle or perhaps an early first blood, they can potentially snowball that straight to a reasonably easy victory, all things considered.
Especially when later on it gives 140 gold, Teagun. Like, hello. There's so much gold, that's ridiculous.
That's a lot of gold, but it's also, if you take it, you're robbing your jungler of that gold. So it's important of where you distribute it.
Okay, so maths, mind, body and soul. That's what it's going to be about, yeah? You know what? You know what, Teagun? We've been on the desk for 3 weeks now, and I feel like it's going to take another 3 weeks before we can, really...
It's going to take longer before I understand jokes like that.
It's because you lost your house, you have no enthusiasm anymore, and it's haunting you ever since. Week 1, if you missed that, you're going to have a look back in the VOD. But as we move forward into the games, Tectonic Academy have a real big challenge here, and that's to stay consistent across the board. They're 1-1. They beat Legacy Genesis, though, so there is some fire in this roster.
Yeah, there's obviously skill in the roster, and it's going to be a pretty important matchup for them. Chiefs, again, another top 3 team expected to do really well all season. If they're able to take a victory here, or at very least remain competitive for a 35, 40, 45-minute game, it'll really set the tone for their season, which is what they're going to look to do today.
Chiefs Academy experience, Tectonic Academy, more so that individual strength. Andrew and Visionary have been a bottom laner I've been watching for quite a while. They've developed from the open laner. You may have seen them around if you've been playing the game, but now they're going up against such a powerful bottom lane. Gunkrab and Ayla, they are dangerous. They are a bottom lane that have been versatile and, again, dangerous.
Ayla's a support that when I talk to people about him, they say he pretty much should be in the OPL. He's one of the best supports in the OCS. He's been around for a while. He knows what he's doing. So if there is a bot lane that's going to take over a game, this is one of them.
All right, but let's jump into our second pick and ban. Tectonic Academy and Chiefs Academy jumping onto the Rift shortly. But for now, we see the priority on Zippo's Cassiopeia, and Zippo as well had a good last week, even if it wasn't a win.
I would say the Vlad ban isn't priority on Omni, though, as much as Cass is on Zippo. Vlad's just a strong champion on the patch. We see it globally. We saw it last game banned out as well. I'm sure yesterday it would have been banned or picked a bunch as well. So just maintaining standard for Tectonic, whereas Chiefs seem to be shifting towards targeted bans.
Yeah, Adeptus loses Xin Zhao, and that is a targeted ban. That has to be. I mean, Xin is such a niche
He is good, though. He is good right now. Yep. So it might just be a blanket ban. Maybe Chiefs just think it's really strong, but I think you might be right, and it is a bit of a targeted ban.
Especially coming in, it's just like Fudge and what we saw last game, T-Gun. Now Adeptus, he's making his impact on the Rift in week 3. He wants to make sure he can get his comfort. Fudge was banned out. Are they going to do the same thing? The Jax is the final ban for Chiefs Academy.
I mean, if they're going to do the same thing, Tectonic's final ban has to be Riven then, right?
Of course. Do not give Panda Riven.
They don't have much of a choice, but if they ban Riven, what are they leaving open? Zoe, Ornn, Ezreal, Caitlyn. They're leaving all of these really top priority picks. And they go with Morgana, so now Chiefs, do they do it? Do they pull the trigger right now? Or do they say, you know what, if you're not going to ban it now, you won't ban it again, so they'll leave it till later?
No, they take the Rakan first pick. This is different pick priority that we've seen tonight.
I want to see Poppy here. Yesterday, Bushy played Poppy. he picked it into Rakan.
He's
it's
revolutionary.
a great Rakan counter pick, and it's pretty much made to deal with Rakan. The W keeps him out. The R removes him completely.
Look, I mean, so is Alistar to a degree, let's be quite honest.
Yes, but the Poppy W just keeps him out without a thought, whereas the Alistar, you have to be very on point, making sure you time your WQ perfectly.
Well, Ezreal's the first one. Tectonic Academy, do they do it? Does Bushy Boo Boo's legacy live on? It is his birthday. You got to give him a present somehow, but for now, it is the Trundle for Adeptus.
I do like the Trundle pick. Graves is banned out. It's pretty much the next best jungler as long as you're not really counting Skarner as that high. So, pretty reasonable picks.
Right.
Ezreal, Kaiser locked in yet again straight away. So we see the same matchup. Will we see it played the same? Will we see Kaiser take teleport again?
I'm so excited that we're actually seeing Kaiser now in the OCS. Week 1 was a big question mark with 2 out of the 8 games banned. Now, on the Summoner's Rift, there's no priority, but there's more pick priority. Tectonic Academy, Tegan, I feel like we're going to talk the whole champ select about it.
Where's Poppy? I feel like you can leave it if you find other things that are priority. That's why they took the Trundle. That's why they took the Ezreal. They just wanted to take things that are important for them. Renekton.
Frogger back in action. That Renekton, that is a challenge towards Panda.
That's good against Riven too.
Yes.
So they won't ban it. They'll just say, go ahead, do it. Fine. Renekton, it can be played as a tanky top. You can just build tanky with it, or you can build damage with it. So he has left himself open to both matchups. Obviously, there are going to be tough things for him, Nah being one of them. But I do like them just open picking it. There's a bit of a question, why not Ornn? But still,
Nah.
It's been a long time since I've seen Renekton in competitive.
It's been a very long time, and I thought we'd see it out of Tekka from QUT, but I guess not. It's going to be the start for Frogger, and maybe forcing Panda into a corner with the first ban Fiora. Maybe another top lane ban to say, hey, just play the Riven.
On the other side, they do better.
Why?
Got it.
Why do you do this?
Absolutely got it. Chiefs banning out supports.
Yeah.
Banned out Braum. Very great champion against Rakan. Do they also go to Alistar, like you said, another good counter? Or do they ban out Poppy? I just want to see it picked or banned.
Right. We're stuck on Bushy Boo Boo. We're on a constant loop, and we can't get past. You get the Braum ban. You also look at Visionary. He has played the Alistar, so maybe the comfort taken away and will be the final ban.
Now, I say, what supports are left with 3 very good ones in Morgana, Braum, Alistar banned? Where does he go? We don't know really what his stylistic preference is. We don't know if he prefers things like Nami, Lulu, Soraka, or if he prefers engages like Alistar, or Tahm Kench. Not really either, more of a supportive tank. Still a good pick, because if your ADC does get Rakan, or if a priority target does get Rakan RW'd, you can just eat them and walk away.
Into the belly. Tahm Kench locked in. Now for Chiefs Academy, some very important decisions to make here, T-Gun. What do you think it's going to be?
Gangplank springs to mind as a great top laner here that you can pick pretty safely.
Or Darius.
No. Simple. When was the last time we saw Darius in competitive?
Well, when was the last time we saw Bose on Kha'Zix? I can answer that. That was last week.
That feels like yesterday, and it feels like Tectonic letting it go through, expect that they're going to be able to control the map against him, and I feel like that starts at level 1. So what they're going to need to do is figure out where he's starting, and I say just take the other side of the map. Take the other scuttle. Don't bother contesting that first one. Just don't let him get both.
Chiefs Academy, final moments. What is it going to be? It's the Ornn. All that for the Ornn. Unfortunate. So it's going to be 1 carry, 1 tank.
I did speak to the Chiefs coach, Denian, and he says while Panda loves playing these aggressive champions like Riven, like Fiora, all these dueling champions, he is still very good on tanks.
Yeah.
And Ornn, one of the best tanks in the game, one of the safest picks in the game. So fair to assume at that point, Panda's going to be good on it. And I expect him to be very influential with the ultimate across the map in mid-late game.
However, that's a LeBlanc taking the challenge to Omni, one of the strongest mid laners, I dare say, in the OCS. Zippo's looking to make an impact, and let's see if he can do what he did against Legacy Genesis and really run away with the game.
It's going to be a tough one into Zoe. I don't think you'll ever really be able to land your chains easily. At the same time, Zoe, how do you land things on LeBlanc? It's difficult at the best of times to land trouble bubbles consistently.
Yeah.
Now, a champion with as much mobility as LeBlanc, I feel like both of these laners are going to want to get out of the lane and be influential in either top or bottom side very quickly.
I think for me, for Chiefs Academy, this is a pretty straightforward draft. I do not see any complications. But for Tectonic Academy, if that top laner doesn't go well, if Frogger falls behind, I feel like you're going to have yourself a bit of a 4 versus 5 where there's one person who's not really doing much.
I might not go that far, but I think you're spot on with Renekton. If he falls behind, becomes a bit useless. He doesn't have some great utility like Ornn Ultimate, for example. So he does rely on items to keep him relevant. But that being said, that's a big assumption to make with him falling behind, especially with LeBlanc on the map, probably going to be roaming up there. Ezreal probably take TP if history is to be believed, and then Tahm Kench Ultimate also allowing him to be mobile. You might even see everyone just end up top lane and help him out.
Well, let's keep it realistic then. Scaling-wise, Chiefs Academy feel like with the Kaiser, they've secured themselves a pretty safe composition to move towards that 40-minute mark.
I think you don't even have to wait for 40 minutes. As soon as you get Gwynsu's, you're going to be even with Ezreal. We saw last game, even though there was a first blood on the Ezreal, Trinity Force versus Rageblade both seemed as strong as each other. So once they get to that one item, Kaiser should be pretty serviceable for them. It's a question of how quickly does Zoe scale to me? How quickly can she start one-shotting people? Or does Tahm just completely ruin Omni's day?
Tegan, we're going to get there first. Ladies and gentlemen, game number 2, Chiefs Academy and Tectonic Academy. And for these two OPL sister teams, right now is about defining yourself, moving forward. If Chiefs Academy take a loss here, they'll be neck and neck with Tectonic Academy, and they can continue moving up. This is another one to watch. Another game that defines the players.
And if Tectonic are going to start working towards that victory, like I said before, it's going to be level 1. I don't want Adeptus and Bose to start on the same side because I think that doesn't work in Tectonic's favor. I think that he should look to be opposite him, take the opposite crab, and just maintain a bit of parity until about, I would say, level 6, when he's going to be a bit more influential than Kha'Zix in 2v2s.
Adeptus, his first week in the OCS. He's gone for the Trundle matchup, but Bose, this is such a scary thing. If this happens again, Tegan, I got to say, we start looking at more of a targeted ban system, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. Omni, speak of the devil. Zippo, much to the wise. How do Chiefs Academy perform? How do they fend themselves off of what Adeptus can do?
Now, you already have the junglers doing what I said, which is starting opposite side. Both teams are going to know this. Bot lane leashes one side, top lane leashes another. It gets a bit obvious at this level. But Kha'Zix has opted not to go to the crab. He's opted to go to his top side and probably look for Adeptus, as we know Bose loves to do, while Adeptus is going to look for a little bit of a cheesy gank here up in top lane.
This is so quick. They want to get Frogger ahead. He'll get the stun. He's only level 1. Adeptus level 2. Panda probably going to have to flash, and he does. It's an early summoner burnt from the top laner of Chiefs Academy.
I love ganks like that. I said it's cheesy. I love cheese.
Oh,
I think stuff like that is underrated and underdone. Yes, he concedes a little bit of his own goals. He doesn't take the crab early, so now Kha'Zix is going to be able to challenge him. But getting that flash out of Ornn really early is so important.
He's going to come in. He gets a steal. Bose with the 70 gold. Adeptus. Suddenly that control goes to waste.
Now, Bose has to take his blue here, or at least he very much should. With a ward on it, I feel like Adeptus should skip his blue and go straight to the crab.
He's not. He's going straight down to that bottom side.
No, he could still definitely go to the crab from there. The reason being is how important crabs are. We've said this before, lots of gold, lots of experience. They're pretty much how you scale as a jungler in the first 7 minutes of the game, as we see Adeptus take that crab. He'll then go to his blue. So he's about 20 seconds behind where Kha'Zix is, but he hasn't lost anything important yet, and Kha'Zix hasn't done anything influential to Tectonic's laners as Adeptus did to Panda.
Bose is walking down. He's going to spot this one out in a minute, but mid lane, top lane, and bottom lane actually all fine for the time being. It's the top side of the map for Chiefs Academy that's pushing in.
While topside's pushing in, Bose is pushing into Tectonic's jungle. This is something he did last week, where he was just crazy aggressive all game, kept poking and prodding until he found cracks in the defense, and it feels like that's what he's going to do this week. Instead of going to his camps, which he knows are going to be up, and which are pretty safe, he's going to keep poking and prodding, looking for Adeptus, and looking to take that duel instead of going to the lanes and try and do a 3v2 or a 2v1 in mid lane.
Just so much gold now in the jungle. There's just so many opportunities that have been granted. Gunkrab and Ayla, it's been on the back of them in the past couple of weeks, but this game it feels like there's a lot of other elements in play. Bose getting ahead early. And where does he go next? He doesn't get any vision on that bottom side jungle, but it'll now be Adeptus coming back to Frogger, trying to make work happen against Panda.
And I think Bose is going to have to end up top. He knows Panda doesn't have flash, and with how Frogger's playing as he goes in on Panda...
He's pretty low though. Can Panda turn this one, Tegan? Adeptus in now. The only damage dealer is going to be press the attack. Frogger playing with fire. Panda walks away. Adeptus takes a chomp for first blood.
They played that right to the limit. Froggadog surviving with his Q flashing out, knowing Panda can't chase him. Adeptus chasing the kill. Now, the only downside to that is Froggadog didn't get the kill. It went on to Adeptus. And I say downside, but if Adeptus uses that kill to revisit top lane, he will have almost free kills consistently until that flashes back up.
What an impact. As the first time jungler we've seen now in the OCS, but the trade's already there, maybe not. Is Panda going to die? He is, but Boast has come in. He's not isolated. Froggadog is a monster, and he's showing it right here.
I said Frog getting the kill was a downside, but it doesn't matter.
Nope.
He just straight up 1v2s them almost. The only reason he doesn't get the kill is because he was out of abilities. And how does Panda come back from this? He doesn't have teleport, so now he's going to be down. I feel like about 3 waves of experience there. Just got shoved into the tower. Bose is going to catch it. Experience in top lane is a pretty big deal. Froggadog 6 to Panda 4. I'm not sure how he stays in this game without a lot of help from both Bose and Omni at this point.
Doubling his CS. It's going to be Bose who gets the wave that jumps in. Now Adeptus, he's trying to make impact in the bottom side. He'll steal away the Krugs. And I have to say, this Trundle is making magic to the side of Tectonic Academy.
Now, this is Adeptus' debut.
Yeah.
He is the new player on Tectonic, subbed in for this week, and he is doing work across the map. Froggadog ahead. Now he's stealing camps away, limiting Bose's potential to both farm and impact the game. What a debut for him, much like we saw earlier on with Fudgy. Impressive players that are just coming in out of nowhere.
Coming back into the mid lane, asleep is Zippo, but look at the support coming through. Adeptus has to get Omni. Omni wants to commit. He gets chopped mid-portal jump. And Zippo dies. Okay.
I wasn't sure if that Ignite was going to trade there.
That was a super long Ignite,
That was the last tick. That was the absolute last tick, and it was very lucky there to get that kill. But gets to trade in a 1v2. That's really well played by Omni.
Again, Adeptus, it's all about him. 2 kills already. Omni goes down, and it's going to be an interesting start. Froggadog, I'd say he's bitten off more than he can chew, but look at the sustain, already the trades. And Panda's just being shoved out. There needs to be impact on this top side. And Bose, he's down the bottom side of the map right now, and Froggadog, very safe.
Froggadog will take those trades all day. He's going to sustain back up with his Q, and he will continually let that wave shove into him. He is very happy in his current situation.
This is the first time that Tectonic Academy T-Gun have actually been on the screen, and I think the showing from Froggadog, it's back to the old showings when he was in Alpha Sydney. He had a couple of good weeks, and Zippo again, the trading onto Omni. Got everything off there pretty much. Chiefs Academy mid lane up. Doesn't have much to say. We're only 1 tick of that refillable potion. Tectonic Academy still find themselves ahead. 1.3k goal.
This is what I was worried about for Omni, is Zippo's able to dodge anything that Omni throws out, and he's still able to land his engage tools. He's still able to land his chains, his sigils. As you see right there, just gets away from the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, no problem. So for me, Omni needs to get out of this lane pretty soon. Yes, he's got a kill. Yes, he's up in farm, but he's not going to really get anything else in that mid lane. Whereas if he goes up top and helps out Panda, or down bot and helps out Gunkrab, he will get more done, as we see Adeptus.
Might be coming sooner than later. The Drowsy is going to use the ultimate, but Adeptus still survives, lives on. Omni, who does he take? He goes into Zippo. Coming down as Froggadog. That is an angry alligator. Zippo back onto Omni. The smite there, but I don't think this is good for Omni. Jumping in, Zippo is going to tick down. Froggadog comes in. Omni, so close, so close. Omni running and will die.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Omni got that kill with a picked up red smite. I just saw ticking damage take down Zippo as Froggadog collapses, uses his I want to say, base move speed advantage of about 5 to secure that kill, showing that early advantage gained by Adeptus. Froggadog using that veteran's knowledge, getting down in the mid lane and helping rectify that situation for Tectonic.
That's when you hope you go back instead of getting the Doran's ring. It's like, I should have gotten boots and maybe a control ward. Maybe that would have made the difference. You have to live with your decisions. Down in the bottom lane, meanwhile, Chiefs Academy finally winning through a lane. It's Gunkrab and Visionary, and Ayla, sorry.
That's what you have to do with Rakan against Tarm. You have to kill the Tarm. You can't go on the Ezreal. Not only is he a mobile champion in himself, but Tarm's also just going to keep him out of everything. What surprises me is they pulled it off. Tarm is not an easy champion to kill. He would have had to been poked down below half health and then engaged on and blown up before he could use the grey health, before he could use his flash to get out. So Well played to Chiefs Academy, whittling him down and taking that kill and getting the advantage in bot lane.
They finally get something on the board. They finally have a winning condition that they can play towards for Chiefs Academy. Bose also has mobility boots, so maybe something starts happening now. Maybe Bose is able to get around this map and match Adeptus, who is 2-0-1 and is just having the game of his life.
You say match Adeptus, but Adeptus has been matching him. Wherever Bose is, Adeptus ends up. Wherever Bose goes, someone from Tectonic is there to make sure he doesn't get to influence the map like he did last week. So while he does have mobility boots and he will be zooming around the map trying to do that, if Tectonic keep a bit of vision up and keep identifying where he's most likely to be, that mobility boost isn't going to help him in the fights.
Well, it is surely going to get him to lane shortly. He has level 6 and Adeptus level 7. He's in the top side. He's waiting for Panda to walk up, but Bose is shortly behind.
I feel like Tectonic know that they're baiting Bose top lane here. That's why you see Adeptus just patiently waiting. He's channeling the recall, but he doesn't plan to go through with it. As he shows himself, I said patient, maybe he got impatient, wants to shove in the wave, and then potentially take Rift Herald or prepare for the topside crab that's about to spawn.
The knowledge from Chiefs Academy now going to impact where Bose moves, and topside still to go with the control ward, blocking that one there. What does Tectonic Academy do? Because they're trying to rotate around this map now, but the top side doesn't feel comfortable. There's a 50 CS advantage for Frogadog. If that Renekton has a 1v2, he probably gets both and looks good doing it.
Before the game, we were worried about the Renekton falling behind. I think Frogadog has answered us and said he doesn't believe in falling behind at this point. And I think you're right. Even if he's isolated up top, he will at least survive in that 2v2 unless Ornn chains everything and they blow him up before he's able to use any abilities.
And purely from this topside pressure, they can get Rift Herald. And is it going to get challenged? The answer might be no. Zippo maybe. Picked out by Bose. Is he going to commit? The answer's yes. The chain's there. Zippo back, kiting around. Now cornered up like a sandwich. It was only the Rift Herald. Zippo will get up, boss.
Bose with the right idea, but Zippo kites him out perfectly, waits for his team to react, and gets the trade. Makes sure Bose can't start scaling like he wants to. Again, another crab going over to Tectonic. And Bose, he's got the mobility boots. He knows where he wants to be. He knows the targets he needs to hit, but just quite isn't getting the results he wants.
I think I'm used to calling him boss, especially after last week, but times might change. Adeptus now soloing the Rift Herald, and you can see the vision. Actually a bit of an L shape walking towards that blue side jungle. He's going to be cleaned up a little bit shortly, though. With Frogadog helping out Adeptus, and Tectonic Academy taking a further lead. Where do they put this? Can they break open the mid lane turret? I guess it's a better question.
That was a really important grab by Tectonic. The game was slowing down a little bit for Adeptus, and Chiefs have started pushing in spot lane and bullying them around. And if you're able to then get a gank off with Rift Herald, it's a free tower, and it's a tower they're going to need pretty soon, because if bot lane is left unattended, Chiefs will take this tower.
But look how cautious they're being. There's pings around the bottom side saying, hey, look, Bose is going to come in and exploit this. The bottom side is the winning lane, and Tectonic Academy knows this.
The problem I have with Bose going bot lane is they won't be isolated. And even if they are isolated, he's only going to be hitting a Tahm Kench. He's going to eat the Ezreal up, and he will be able to survive as long as they're under the tower. It's going to have to be a 4 or even 5v2 down bot lane to get the work done.
But there's a lot of damage going onto this turret, and Tectonic Academy do not want to miss out on this bonus. If they forfeit first turret blood, there is going to be an advantage for Chiefs Academy to start the snowball, I guess, in the bottom side.
You're absolutely right. They will be able to start that snowball if they get the first tower. And you will snowball very quickly against an Ezreal who's still going to need to get his items to scale up. Like I said, though, they are going to need a lot more than Bose down there to make sure it works.
Surely it'll help out Omni, who's had some good weeks. Now the jump on Visionary, the target, of course, but charmed back. Andrew gets out. Only just the jump on Kai'Sa. Second skin will erupt, and Chiefs Academy bot lane does it again.
I said they'd need more than Bose, but apparently I'm wrong. Rakan hits both of them with the ultimate. Ezreal getting spat out just a little too quickly. Here's the response from Tectonic, dropping that Rift Herald, getting that first turret blood, even though they are going to lose bot tower. Actually, sorry, they already got it
already
on top.
In the top side. We missed that one as the turret dive. Frogadog, is this overly ambitious? Panda seems to think so. He'll get the knock up underneath the turret. The heal's already going to be here. The dive. Panda's going to be ignite and gone.
Great roam by Zippo and Adeptus after getting that mid turret. Now they're going to get top second tier. Little bit of damage by Omni, but it's just not enough. It might be with Drowsy.
Isla's coming in. This is a double man knockup. They go for Adeptus. They haven't found him yet. Frogadog so low. doesn't survive. Omni gets the kill, and they defend only just.
They get Froggadog, but Froggadog sacrifices himself to keep Adeptus alive. So while Chiefs do get that kill, they do get the needed gold and experience and just sort of stem the bleeding as Tectonic was just really laying it into him. Froggadog still going to be well ahead of where he should be at this point in the game.
But T-Gun, the tempo has just gone to a new level. We've gone from 50 to 80. And at 15 minutes in the game, it feels like for Tectonic, this is going to benefit them with that Renekton in the top side. Speeding the game up might not look as good as we originally thought for Chiefs.
Speeding the game up is saying it pretty lightly. He is still double on CS, 141 to 77. Not quite there, obviously, but give me a little bit of slack.
He's pretty much the clock, almost.
And they're still maintaining that 1v1 matchup. They're not getting Ornn out of it, and I feel like as a team, that's what they need to do. They need to get Ornn somewhere else, because if they just keep him against Renekton, he is never going to be as relevant as they want him to be.
And Panda needs to leave the lane, but Tectonic Academy now need to match the top side. They're going to go for the dragon down the bottom side, but they might just lose that top lane turret.
They have to know Kha'Zix is here.
Well, they do now. Bosa showed himself. Andrew's already out. Visionary just going to take the kill or the death instead. Gunkrab gets another.
Good engage by Chiefs, and it's going to get the tower, but Tectonic did the right thing. They conceded as early as they could. Andrew does get out, and they're equalizing down bottom with the turret. Like you said, this game is starting to quicken. The pace is kicking up. Turrets are falling very quickly across the map on both sides. But in my eyes, that benefits Tectonic more than Chiefs, with Renekton, a champion that, like we said before, does sort of fall off a bit late game. He's going to be more relevant than ever right now.
However, we can't forget about Gunkrab. 202 has Ginso's Rage Blade, and with the help of Omni, who's got the Luden's Echo, that mid lane, bottom lane combination is starting to dish out the damage you can see there, but tier 2 in the bottom side, everything speeding up. Zippo walks away. Chiefs Academy, the flash forced over the side. They'll break the mid lane outer, but what is the cost? Here comes the collapse, ladies and gents. Froggadog in. Who's his target? It will be Gunkrab. He gets deleted. Ornhorn, but Panda, is he going to get knocked up? He's not. He'll still die. He'll still trade his life for Tectonic Academies too.
They don't even get the outer. That's what they needed there, and they don't get it. Tectonic collapse. They rotate quickly. They're going to get the mid lane inner, perhaps even more. And I don't know how they stop Renekton here. They need to not even bother engaging on him. They need to pick off targets. Zoe needs to be on the sides. So does Kha'Zix, and they need to try and pick off Ezreal, pick off LeBlanc, pick off even Tahm Kench before fights break out, because if these big fights continue to break out, Froggadog is just going to keep continuing to take over this game.
And if you're going to match map rotations with the Cloud Drake, I'm going to say Tectonic Academy have just that little bit of boost. Zippo has done fine in the mid lane, but let's not forget what Froggadog has done this game. He is now on to his third item, which will shortly be a Ravenous Hydra. 3-1-4, still doubling the CS of Panda.
He's almost Flame Horizoned him.
But Panda can't start these fights, T-Gun. Froggadog, he definitely can.
Not only can he has been. There are multiple tools in Tectonic to start fights and counter engage, which has been the name of the game for them, is wait until Chiefs overstep their bounds and then shut them down as quickly as possible. The lucky thing for Chiefs is it's pre-20 minutes, so they're not losing Baron, and obviously they're not losing something as big as an Elder Drake. So while Tectonic have been snowballing these fights, have been taking them pretty succinctly, they haven't taken anything major yet. All of the inhib towers remain. All the inhibs remain. So now for Tectonic, as Ezreal gets drowsy in up, that's what you're going to see happen a lot now, is how do they break open the base of Chiefs and continue this snowball they've got going?
The mid lane out are still the target for Chiefs Academy. They want to break mid lane before Baron comes up. For Tectonic Academy, what growth we've seen here in this game in week 3. It's not just about being good in the OCS, it's about that growth. And now, if they can play the fight, then the growth is there. Bose jumps over Froggadog, but he'll find the stun. That is a lot of burst. That's a lot of damage. Only surviving just 2 flashes out, and Chiefs Academy run for the hills.
Bose very lucky to survive there with both Froggadog and Adeptus on him. Had to burn the flash, got double shielded by Rakan. Barely survives the Ezreal just then. Now what did Tectonic take? I feel like they need to be pushing these waves in a bit more together to get things out of these picks they're finding as Zippo goes on Omni.
Omni will not get chained up, but he misses the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. The Ignite deleted, and Zippo walks away.
That's what you expect Zoe to do, and now Zippo's doing it.
I love for the engage. A messy game, but one that has been quite structured from Tectonic Academy. A 6k gold lead there at the mid lane turret. Baron's up in 40. Right now they can do whatever they want. Chiefs Academy restricted to their base.
I would say this is the only downside to Tectonic's composition, is while they're finding all these great picks and they are generating this huge gold lead, they just aren't able to break objectives as quickly as you'd like. They don't have a Caitlyn, they don't have a Ziggs, they don't have anything that just chunks through objectives. But once Baron's alive, they can start baiting around Baron, and their composition which picks pretty easily and is able to, you know, Tarm Kenshot behind them, perhaps teleport with a Renekton, and start pincering on Chiefs Academy's comp. That's when it's going to come to fruition.
And I guess this is where the bonus of Boast comes in. With the upgraded ultimate, he's able to walk his way through that Baron area. There's still a bit of vision control there for Chiefs Academy as well. So at the moment, I think Tectonic Academy, if they can firm up vision, make sure they can do this safely, then that Baron becomes a much better objective.
I think that's what Tectonic is about to do. You see pink wards in the inventory of every player on Tectonic. They have a couple sweepers now as well. Their next setup will be remove all vision on the top side for Chiefs. Don't let them have vision in their own blue side or around Baron. Then start the bait while Renekton demands attention down bot lane.
He does, because Renekton is just having the time of his life. If anyone fights him, they are going to die, but this is a 4 versus 5. Froggenok doesn't have TP. The Ornhorn hits 3 people, and Chiefs Academy have found a fight they can win. Andrew only just surviving. He'll throw out the True Shot Barrage. The engage from Adeptus doesn't find his mark, but Gunkrab gets an ulti, gets a double, and Chiefs Academy back into this game.
They win the fight, but can they stop Froggenok in time? Like you said, he doesn't have teleport. He's just sat down in bot lane. He's going to get this turret. And Chiefs, they need to send people back so they can't pick up the Baron. Yes, that's a big win for Chiefs. They brought the gold lead back to something they can deal with a lot easier. Great fight from Gunkrab. But without this tower, anytime Panda is away from the base, especially without teleport, luckily he has it now, that's an inhib that Froggenok's going to look to take very quickly.
What are you going to trade, your life or your base? And right now, Tectonic Academy say we'll take their base away. The gold lead has shortened a little bit, but now that bottom lane inhibitor, T-Gun, you're exactly right. Baron's up, Dragon's up as well. Froggenok started taking that, but he's going to play it a little bit safe. Drags it out. 21 minutes in the game, the pace is still high.
Now with TP on Renekton, if another fight like that breaks out, I feel like it might not go Chiefs' way. Gunkrab played that exceptionally.
Yep.
He was in the backline, picking off squishy targets, taking them down before they could get out. We thought Andrew was alive on no health, but Gunkrab cleans him up. If Froggenok TP's in, Gunkrab can't do that. He has to worry about where the Renekton is at all times.
Well, Chiefs are putting everything on this bait. 5 members are around this brush. Will Andrew and Visionary walk in and open up the map for Chiefs Academy, open up the Baron? The answer's no. They call off the play.
Tectonic are doing the smart thing. They're waiting until someone reacts to the Renekton. They have to send people there. And I mean people, not person. They need at least 2 people down there to deal with him. Otherwise, he will take that inhib. And Chiefs only sending the Ornn because they want to go back to this bait.
Both using the invisibility, Drowsy on the Tarm Kench. Now Visionary caught out Chiefs Academy. It comes successfully. There's 4 members, but look at the bot side there. Froggenok's doing it again, and that inhibitor, it's going to be collapsed on, but will he get it?
He will definitely get this inhibitor, and Chiefs are going to have to look to counter by taking either mid lane inner or Baron.
They're leaving him.
They have to. They have to. There was no answer there. They couldn't get there in time as Zippo goes in for some poke on Gunkrab.
Bit of burst. He goes over the wall. Ayla's found it. Now for Zippo. He'll be taking out Adeptus, the next target, and it's going to be an easy kill for Gunkrab. Both almost going down. A double to move towards the Baron, but look at this Renekton. Baron base. Baron base. The question's still there.
I feel like they can take the Baron here.
I don't think so, T-Gun. I do not think so. Flash forward. Froggenok the monster. This Renekton has a minion wave coming, but the Baron is going to be secured.
And they will get back fast enough with Baron buff that he's not going to be able to take any towers down extra. So while he does get the kill, Chiefs do finally secure that objective that was so important to them. With Baron, they're going to be able to defend, maybe even push, and it also just slows the game down, which is what they desperately needed to do. Like we said before, Renekton is ahead of where he should be. If they can slow the game down, let the Ornn catch up, let the members of Chiefs sort of settle down and start taking those fights that they are excelling at, they can start wresting control of this game back from Tectonic.
I like how you said the word resting, T-Gun, because I'm going to do a bit of that for the next minute. It's been so full on. 24 minutes and there's been 25 kills. It's more than a kill a minute with 2 Elemental Drakes going to Tectonic Academy. They have shown that they deserve to win this game, but it's not over yet. There's a 3k gold lead. There's a lot more objectives for Chiefs Academy to take.
There's a fight happening right now. Zippos went over.
Oh, this is not good for Omni, but he walks out. Maybe instead it's going to be the collapse onto that Tahm Kench. Adeptus now caught in a bad place, and Chiefs Academy are still winning these fights, and this time Froggadog was involved.
He TP'd him pretty late, and by the time his TP finished, he had to get out of dodge. They get the crab on the back, but with Baron buff, that is at least top inner, perhaps even top inhib turret, and that's exactly what Chiefs needed. Again, wait for your opportunities, get the picks that you've been waiting for. You said Tectonic have earned it, but I tell you what, if anyone from Chiefs have earned it, it's Gumcrab and Ayla. 9-1-4, 2-0 and 13 on an engaged champion. They are putting in absolute work this game to make sure they have the best chance at winning.
This inner is going to drop as well. Chiefs Academy take the lead for one of the first times in this game. Froggadog just walks mid, says, howdy, boys. Back in action. This one will be blocked away, though. Froggadog making a valiant effort, but we're going to have to compare here, T-Gun. Guncrab 9-1-4, Froggadog 4-1-4. And although Renekton's had a good early game, Guncrab has a good mid to late.
I think with how much mobility Kai'Sa has and how much protection Guncrab is going to have from both the Ornn CC and the Rakan, I would give the edge to him. Renekton does a lot of burst damage, especially with his build, but I don't think it'll be enough to kill the Kai'Sa as quickly as he needs. And if I'm Rakan, I'm building a Mikhail's pretty soon, or I'm telling Guncrab he needs a QSS, because the only way Chiefs start losing fights is if Guncrab dies.
I think Guncrab is going to be hard to get to him if you're Froggadog 2 levels ahead. That level 3 ultimate, the Fury of the Hands will follow. 2 minutes till that Dragon. Tectonic Academy now on the for the first time in the game on the defensive, it feels like.
I would say that they're not quite defensive, more that they're not able to proactively make plays, which is what we saw them doing pretty much this whole game. Instead, they have to react to what Chiefs are doing, and once the Baron buff runs out, we'll see Tectonic go back to being that aggressive team that we were expecting.
Oh, Zippo almost getting tagged. And that would have been all over Red Rover for the mid lane. At the bottom side turret, and look at mid. They're now charging down. This is a desperate play. But Chiefs Academy, they have the Baron buff back. There's no way Tectonic are going to be able to get there.
Tectonic with the right idea, but just missed the execution a bit. They needed to delay those recalls. Use the Ezreal ulti, have the LeBlanc dart forward and try and just sort of keep their attention so that 3-man squad in the Renekton, Tahm Kench, Trundle could get that mid inhib turret potentially. It was still a long shot, but it was the right play because they've shown already they can't win these 5v5 fights. Guncrab and Ayla are just doing too much work.
And it's slowed down, T-Gun. It really has. Chiefs Academy have played towards that objective, and they've done so well. Tectonic Academy, their speedy game is over. It's now Chiefs Academy taking the lead, taking control, and Baron will be up again soon as it expires, and that could be the fight that ends it all.
I feel like this is the first time Chiefs have had the gold lead all game.
Yeah.
Tectonic were in the driver's seat for about 25 minutes, and Chiefs have just made correct decision, great fight after fight after fight, and brought themselves back into this game. Now with Tectonic's comp, I don't think they can win 5-on-5s from here on. What they need to start doing is out-rotating Chiefs with the Tahm Kench, with the double teleport, and try to pull them apart so they can't protect the Kai'Sa and let her kill everyone.
And I expect to see a lot more pressure on the map from Chiefs Academy as that bottom side inhibitor just respawns. Now for Tectonic Academy, they might not have the edge. It's going to be dangerous. Guncrab actually taking quite a lot. Andrew walks away, but it's going to be the Drowsy going over to Visionary. Froggadog on the side of this fight. Chiefs Academy, they get chunked out nice and early.
Chunking out Guncrab there was so important by Andrew. It nets them the Dragon. Now they have to go back to their base, deal with the wave that's on their bot inhib. Tectonic can reset, and what they should be doing here is going mid, pushing it out, and then going topside, trying to remove all the pinks and get some vision down of their own.
I think vision control for Tectonic Academy has kind of been part of the issue here. Something they need to firm up, and throughout the OCS, we've seen their growth through their skill and their macro. It's just little things like this could maybe control Chiefs Academy towards this side of the game.
The big problem here for Tectonic, and especially heading into the next 5 minutes, is while they've just taken control of the top side, they have no pink wards in their inventory at all. Not a single player has one. They pretty much don't have any on the map. The one down at Dragon's going to be inconsequential when Baron spawns, as they try and catch Froggadog here.
He'll flash away, but Isla's committing into the fight. He'll find Froggadog, and it's 1 versus 4. That would be fun for a Renekton if everyone else was behind, but they're not. Gunkrab will get his 10th.
Very, very good catch there by Chiefs, but not a catch that's going to amount to anything. Now, what they'll do is reset, go towards the Baron, drop all those pinks, and start controlling the area as Baron spawns in about a minute.
That's like a 5k gold lead just about for Gunkrab, a little bit less. That's a huge one. Yeah, look at the top side, however. That's 4,000 gold, but it's when you play a tank versus a bruiser, the relevancy of that top lane. And even though it's 4k, it really isn't going to matter the later we get.
You're absolutely right. The later we get, the less that gold lead up top matters, especially because it is on a bruiser. We saw how quickly he falls down in bot lane just then, and most importantly, he blew his flash. So no longer is there a threat of Renekton TPing in E/W onto the Kai'Sa, trying to burst her down. So you're going to see Gunkrab play a bit more aggressively and more confidently in these teamfights.
And the death timers are very long. Froggadog only just respawning in time for Baron. Let's see which way this goes, because Chiefs Academy, they want the pick first, and that'll open up the pit. Baron, there, live, available. But available to who?
I feel like with the control Chiefs have, while they're not going to take it while all of Tectonic are up, they are going to start looking for picks, looking for someone split up like the Trundle.
Just like that. That's not good, Adeptus. He'll get taken out before you know it. Chiefs Academy, they find their pick, and they go straight for that Baron.
And with Froggadog in bot lane, this is their Baron for the taking. There's no smite on Tectonic available. The question is, how quickly do they get it? Can Renekton get bot inhib before Chiefs are able to get back to base and defend?
Well, there's no steal whatsoever. Baron goes down. Froggadog tries, but gets nothing. That's a clean Baron take for Chiefs Academy.
Clean is the operative word there. They took out the smite, they committed, and they were able to get back in time to defend Froggadog's advance. Now, how do Tectonic respond? How do they stop this incoming siege from Chiefs? Because Chiefs are winning all the fights, and they're able to initiate the fights. I don't know if they can defend 5-on-5. I think they're going to have to just try and threaten to split push, trying to threaten objectives on Chiefs' side, even though Chiefs have a bannered Baron minion coming down the mid lane.
And all 5 grouping as one. Both splits off and going to change things up. Gunkrab is so huge. If he gets in this fight, Tectonic will lose. So they back off, they lose the turret, they plan to fight another day.
Andrew is playing with fire right now. He is at times within engage range of Rakan, fully believing that Visionary will get him out of trouble if he does get himself into it.
Inhibitor turret not even challenged. Tectonic Academy just don't want to go near this Kai'Sa right now. Froggadog's on the bot side, but they're going for the final moment here, T-Gun. Chiefs Academy, they're not stopping.
All it takes is one trouble bubble to land, and Chiefs will be able to end.
Oh, Zippo has to flash away. There's the Ornhorn again. Visionary eats him up, but it's the wrong one. He eats the clone, and Gunkrab starts cleaning up. Kai'Sa versus Renekton, and Kai'Sa wins. Froggadog's on the Nexus turrets, but he just does not have time here. It is a final moment that's taken by Chiefs Academy. The scaling team takes it all.
What a close end. Froggadog was chomping on the Nexus turrets. Froggadog was, I would say, about 30 seconds from winning the game for Tectonic, but Chiefs pulled the trigger. They catch Zippo out, force Visionary to try and eat him. He misses the 50-50, doesn't get the right one, and even if he did, Chiefs were probably going to be able to end that game there. They would have had both turrets. You saw Andrew trying to just run the minions away to stall for time. I liked the idea from Tectonic there. They kept Frog in the side lane, kept him trying to win because they weren't going to win the 5v5. Chiefs just executing too well and taking the victory.
Oh, the issue was Visionary was doing a great job with the help of Andrew, but each time that bottom lane gets caught out, Gunkrab takes the resources. Gunkrab takes the resources. Gunkrab just got so fed that you can't deal with the bottom side of Chiefs Academy, and there was nothing that Tectonic could do in the scaling battle.
And I feel like Kai'Sa was a great pick for him to do that, to take over a game. It has the mobility, it has the damage, it has the ability to take over games like that, and with Ayla on Rakan creating the engages, they just kept going around as that two-man unit, picking up little pieces of Tectonic. Sure, they were behind 3,000-4,000 gold at points, but Gunkrab and Ayla never gave up, kept just working their lead slowly but surely to a point that he was unignorable.
Do you remember week 1 when you're like, why are people picking Kai'Sa? She's open. Ladies and gentlemen, now you see it doesn't matter if it's 8.8 or 8.10. T-Gun was right. We're going to go a 5-minute break, and when we return, we'll give you some more OCS action to be proud of. And you know you're back with the OCS with Jake Asterix, Osipenko, Bradley Teague, Seymour. Maybe I should introduce you first next time, but that's something we'll talk about a little bit later. Bradley.
We won't.
Yes, we will. We will. I will make sure of it. Bradley, this is an important game because both of these teams in Avant Academy and Order Academy, they haven't picked up their first win, and now is the time to do it because someone has to come away with one.
Yeah, Avant and Ground Zero, actually. But you're absolutely right. One of them does have to come away.
What did I say? Order. Oh, man. That was last week's match.
They already played. Ground Zero, first time we're seeing them, on Thursday at least.
Yeah.
A lot to prove. They've only played one game so far because they did unfortunately forfeit the first week because they weren't able to field a roster in time. Whereas Avant, they've played a couple games. They've shown that there is that spark that's there. They have the ability to win these games, but they're just not pulling through. And if they are going to turn it around, I still want to look at Serum in the mid lane. I want to see what he's truly capable of because it seems like he's just been falling a little bit short so far.
He has had a pretty good couple of weeks, although no win, but he's shown his strength. I think Pluto and Nausicaa, they're the people for me that have to step up with Avant Academy. They've definitely shown some, I guess, signs of life. Now we just want to see more.
On Ground Zero's side, I want to see what Cadence and Falconer can put in. Cadence is a pretty high-ranked mid laner on about 13 accounts. I think he's got some ridiculous number. I don't know why. I've managed one, barely. How does Falconer impact that lane? Falconer just got subbed in.
Yep.
Is he going to be influential in 8-10? We had the same questions for Andrew, and he sure was. So where does he go? Where's his priority? I hope it's in mid lane, not only to get Cadence moving, but to also stop Serum from taking over the game.
You know what? Last week for Ground Zero, Hate finished 6-2 and 8, I believe, on the Sivir. Had a pretty good lane down the bottom lane, but Ground Zero just weren't able to finish. So I guess for Hate, how do we transition that into a team win?
I think if you have a champion you can leave alone, it is Sivir. So if he's comfortable on it and they give him a support that helps stem the threat of dives, you can just put him on Sivir, let him farm up and let him fend for himself and leave the jungle's attention elsewhere to either counteract ganks or to initiate them and try and win 2 lanes instead of just 1.
But for Ground Zero, this is going to be a hard game to start things off because unfortunately they've lost the first 3 of their bans. They did not submit a roster that was originally allocated. They brought in a sub-roster, of course, with Falconer. So that means they're going to lose the first 3 bans. Let's see what falls its way through. And for Avant Academy, maybe they can find something a little bit different as well.
I can tell you from playing, when the other team loses 3 bans, it still throws your strategy out of whack. Because now you have to cover for their bans. You sort of assume the other team will ban a couple of things that are strong and limit the pool and open up your choices. Now, Avant's bans, they have to cover both the strongest champions they think are left and also any target bans they want to get out.
I mean, for Serum, like, he looks like a versatile mid laner, so I feel like there's going to be a lot of priority there. Maybe Hate Sivir gets banned away, but those 3 bans, those first 3, are going to be important. But I think we'll see a bit of a wild game when you only see 3 bans in the first phase. That's when you see the Yasuo, the Vel'Koz.
I'd love to see Vladimir. I think it might actually warrant a ban if you only have 3, but that's one of the... You want to see unique things, I just want to see strong things. I want to see things that are banned out almost every game for a reason. So you see things like Vladimir banned out every game, Morgana banned out. It does have that flex potential, but it's also just one of the best supports on the patch.
As you may know, yeah.
I have to mention it now, right?
Of course you do.
But where do Avant place the priority? Because it can't just be 3 strong picks. It has to also limit someone's champion pool. And I don't know who they focus on. Do they focus on Falconer, the new jungler, and try and limit him, get rid of something like Graves, maybe even Skarner, or whatever he's strong at? I'm sure Avant have done their research. Or do they aim towards mid lane, get Serum better matchups? How do they place priority here with such a limited amount of bans, and hopefully they get a first pick worthwhile? I'm not sure what it'll be. Like I said, they could just leave Vladimir open and take that.
Well, potentially 3 bans only, and it's only going to come from Avant Academy. So the first 3, remember, from Ground Zero are taken away. That is a penalty. For Avant Academy, the first one's going to be Kai'Sa. Maybe we restrict the 80 carry pool and see what comes through.
Well, you said height was a threat, and Kai'Sa being banned out, that's a nod towards him. We just saw it the previous couple of games being very, very strong. Obviously not successful in the first game, but Gunkrab taking over a game with it. So, bit of respect shown there. Do they keep the focus bot lane, ban out Morgana, or ban out another ADC, perhaps Ezreal, and take Caitlyn? Or do they shift, go towards mid, remove Vladimir? Because Serum does like playing more roaming champions as opposed to these champions that stay in lane and then team fight. They go with Aurelia. Is that targeted towards mid or top?
Well, I think at the moment for Cadence, an Orianna player, someone who I've spent a lot of time looking at, I think that's towards him. I mean, at the moment, Aurelia mid is truth to that. Hyperlux nah. And funnily enough, yes, in the name.
I'm not even going to recognize that name.
Oh, well, you have to because it's on the list.
I don't think they should ban Nah. I don't care if it's his best champion.
That's a ban.
It's not good enough to warrant a ban. When you have Ornn available, when you have Cho'Gath available, these other strong tops that do well into it, it's not a big deal. So let it go through, let him get that comfort pick, because you can't ban everyone's comfort pick. Take something safe, easy to play like Ornn, maybe Cho'Gath, maybe something different.
Maybe.
Probably not Renekton.
Okay, you know exactly
in front
where I
of
was going.
Instead they go with Rakan, yet another strong meta pick. We saw it last game. So they banned out the duo from last game. Rakan, it doesn't give anything away from me, but what it does restrict is the Xayah pick. It's not picked as often, as early without Rakan. But again, it doesn't show any sort of research on a player. It's not like you're banning out a specific pick, not banning out, say, Rogue's Thresh in the OPL, a very common ban, a very respectful ban.
Yep.
It's just, these things we think they're strong, let's get rid of them. Now, with first pick, what do they take? Do they take Vladimir? Do they take Graves as they're hovering? And they do. How did Ground Zero answer? I assume it's Trundle, but do they go Trundle Vladimir?
I mean, there's so many questions on the board, especially when the bot side for Ground Zero is where we're focusing. In 8.10 T-Gun, there's been a lot of picks that have come out that I haven't expected. Things like the Talon, the new Varus build as well. And in the 80 carry position, I mean, we're even seeing, the bottom side, we're seeing the Lulu come back in as a more priority pick. Maybe the easier top side for Ground Zero.
So you wanted him to take Nah, but he takes Ornn instead.
Yeah, why not?
Unfortunate for you, but Ornn is, like I've said before, just the safest, strongest top pick you can take first up. It does strike questions to me. AV have already picked up Graves, Vlad's still on the board, taking Ezreal here with both Kate and Xayah and Varus all available. Does Cadence not play Vlad? Or do they not prioritize it and not respect it as a strong pick?
Well, maybe it might be snatched away by Avant Academy at this rate, but no way, Jose.
There's no way he locks in.
I mean, if you look for comfort, there it is, but is this really the right choice? No. Is that the right choice? Maybe, maybe not. I've seen Caitlyn's matched, but Morgana actually going to be the final one, playing with us a little bit. Morgana and the Graves already, I see the start of a pick composition. How does it transcend?
I mean, Ashe would fill up a pick competition, but it would just be strange to me. It's not that great into Ezreal. Landing your ultimate is difficult at the best of times, and they can also still pick Tom.
That helps. That helps just a little bit. Cadence, I've seen his comfort on Azir before, but for Ground Zero, now it's about cementing this composition 8.2.
I'm not getting hype about any pick. It's changing too much. I'm just going to talk about the fact that we've got Jhin Morgana. Great
Good lad.
duo lane. If you land a bind or you land the Jhin W, the other one comes naturally after it. So any pick, any poke they do works.
Xin Zhao. Faulkner comes in his first week. We've had subs make an impact today. Not subs, but new players into week 3. Faulkner is no exception. Onto the Xin Zhao straight away.
I didn't expect that. Like I said before, I expected Trundle. I expected you to just go to whatever the meta pick is, especially as a new player coming in. You don't want too much pressure on yourself. You want to be able to just play safely and standardly. Faulkner says no. He's going to take what he thinks is his best champion. And it's going to be interesting seeing how he plays it. I feel like Graves is going to win that 1v1, especially early on.
Yep.
But can he be more influential in the 2v2s, in the 3v3s, especially later on with his ultimate up? It seems like Avant have built champions that are going to be outside of it instead of inside of his ulti, which they need to be to deal damage to him. So how does he utilize it? How does he work around with that?
Maybe Faulkner thought this one through. As we come to the second ban phase, it looks like finally Ground Zero are going to have their impact. LeBlanc is the first one. The Vladimir away from Cadence, considering he still doesn't have a mid laner. Maybe Ground Zero left that one for too long.
I like the LeBlanc ban. Serum's shown that he likes picking it. He's decent at it.
Yeah.
Just showing the respect that they do need to give. And then the Cho'Gath ban rounding out. Best champion against Dawn. I've said it before, even tonight. Say it again. Just sort of restricting the best picks they can take. It's not anything that's groundbreaking. They're not going out and banning very specific, very personal champions. They're just playing very standard at this point, besides the Xin Zhao pick, of course. Whereas Avant answering with Talia, that's a champion I would have preferred to see Serum play. See him play roaming champions that I've seen him play before. I
think getting away those mid laners early in the game, our previous 2 games, Mid lane has been a crucial role, especially in this patch. I'll say it once more.
Zoe is still up. And if we're talking about influential mid lanes, that's one of the ones that's left, and there should be priority on it. Soraka lock in.
We see a Soraka. We saw one yesterday. And I believe today is going to impress us even more.
So I have a little bit of bias here. I hate Soraka players.
Oh.
I hate the champion. Hate everything about it.
That's because you play Blitzcrank.
You're not wrong. All right? You're absolutely not wrong. But Morgana's very good against it.
Blitzcrank's still up.
You can't... It's not going to be big. Come on now. Don't do me
Sorry,
like that.
Dig.
Trundle picked in.
That's a
Trundle
top.
Okay, wow.
I love how you said that twice. That's a top.
Yeah, that surprised me for a second. It does go top here. The ultimate's still good against Dawn. Leans pretty well against him, so very smart pick. Just didn't cross my mind at all.
No.
Back to the Soraka interactions just for a second here. Silence Field doesn't work against Black Shield.
Ooh. Finally. Just going to interrupt you there, T-Gun. That is a Syndra.
Is this the first time we've seen Syndra since the orb changes?
I believe so. This is the very first time. Now, run us through. There's some quality of lives for those orbs.
Yeah, so the orbs don't last as long, but they do more damage upon landing. So Syndras have to be a bit more deliberate with their play as opposed to just throwing things everywhere like a spoiled child. You're going to see a bit more control from him. But the damage output is a little bit higher, as long as he's very good at landing everything. Whereas we see Cadence just go back to a tried and true control mage in Oriana.
See, Oriana against Syndra, sometimes that could be a bit of a doozy of a matchup. And that's confidence from Cadence. They want to build towards that team fighting. And for Ground Zero, I see a bit of a developing team composition looking towards their first win.
I personally prefer Avant's team comp.
Yeah.
I feel like it's very straightforward. Land a Binding, land a Jin Snare, land a Syndra Stun, and destroy that person. Just throw everything on top of them. Whereas Ground Zero, they have the right idea in their team comp. You have Oriana and Xin Zhao. They're able to go in together, throw that ball on Xin Zhao. He's able to get in pretty deep. Throw the ball onto someone as Ornn engages. You do have the synergy there. You do have easy ideas to execute on, just not as easy as Avant's comp.
There is so much pick potential on Avant Academy. I cannot wait for their very first win. They're going to pull out all stops, and finally we see a Xin Zhao in the OCS on the Thursday. And Faulkner, in his very first game, is going to show us why this pick is so contested in 8.10.
And to do that, his early pathing is going to be really, really important. Does he contest crabs early, or does he take that map split that we've seen before, take your own crab, let the other person have theirs, and try and influence later on in the game at the level 4 mark or at the 3-minute mark where you start ganking?
I mean, you'd have to think that after the Scuttle Crabs, there's going to be some really early pressure, early ganks, early potential for both of these teams. Remember when we saw Avant Academy go up against Order Academy? They were shut out through the mid lane. The Yasuo pick against it was like, oh my lord, what's going on?
If you're going to look for early games, especially on AV's side, you're going to end up bottom. You have so much reliable pick potential down there. Obviously, they are skill shot based, but it's still the best potential you have on the team. I expect Ground Zero in Faulkner to recognize that and mirror that. He'll likely just try and figure out where the Xin is going to go and follow him. Because if Avant flub their engage, or even if they do hit it but not well, Ground Zero can turn fights very quickly, especially with the barrier on Soraka.
Well, let's find out who can pick up their first win in the OCS. Avant Academy and Ground Zero really reaching in the pit for this one. Week number 3, 0-2 on both of these teams.
Standard fan from both teams. Boring but expected. Like I said before, it is the safest level 1 strat to do. You just fan out. If they start invading, drop a ward and escape. What it doesn't do is provide accurate info on where the jungles are starting. If you then get a bit tricky, throw in a fake leash, or don't leash at all, it's really difficult for the other team to work out where you're going to go and where you're going to be later on.
Fake Faulkner and Hate are being very ambitious. First time we've seen Ground Zero here on the stage. Pluto, let's be careful where he stands. That's not good. Pluto, why are you checking the brush? He's now on the grand exit. The flash is already there. Faulkner flashes forward, and the Soraka takes first blood.
That was incredible by Ground Zero to know that he's going to do that. That's a team that has researched the level 1. They were planning to invade the red, showed the patience, waiting for him to walk up, and now they benefit by getting the buff and bot lane priority against a lane that I thought was going to be difficult for them to deal with.
And Pluto and Nausicaa already behind. This is a great start for Ground Zero, and this is going to impact the map so much. Faulkner gets red buff, goes to Raptors, staying in the side of the jungle. Aeon's going to walk up, and Nausicaa just gets traded out so hard. This is a really, really heavy start. Serum has to be careful where he stands.
Now, while he had the right idea there to sort of go towards Serum and try and assert a bit of pressure there, there's nothing that comes out of Cadence to help him, and there is nothing Orianna can really do to help him. So Serum can freely harass him as he tries to take those raids, and he needs to take camps out of Aeon's bot side because Aeon's taking all of his top side.
Inverse jungling might come to an end. Faulkner walking towards the Scuttle Crab. Still only level 2, but the Scuttle Crab going to give extra experience. Cadence running for his life, and Scatter the Weak does not connect. Cadence might get out of this free. In fact, Faulkner's coming in. Aeons again flashes forward. My lord, this is crazy as a start. Faulkner running for his life. Bottom lane need to react to this.
Faulkner able to get out, Cadence as well. Ions with really good timing there. He knows Faulkner was backing out down towards bot side because of how long it took for him to take the Raptors. And now Ions, I believe this is his, it's his first scuttle, but taking this scuttle, knowing that top side has been dealt with, he can go contest that second one if he so chooses.
But he's full health. Faulkner is at half. He's still level 2, and Aeon now has the leg up, and Serum's running into this jungle as well, Tiga.
He's going to get it and get out before they can get in, but he can't get his walls. He has to leave here.
He's not leaving, Tiga. Faulkner, he's going to be backed into a corner. Serum now needs to land Scatter the Weak. He doesn't. The orb does, though, and justice for Serum.
Avant, knowing he's going to be greedy, go in, take the easy kill there, and now Faulkner's in a really difficult spot. He's down a crab. He's now been killed by the enemy mid laner, letting Sidra get a bit more pressure in mid. Pressure in mid, and he's going to win that 1v1. How does Faulkner start jungling safely past his side of the river?
I think the answer is not very well at this stage. Serum with double buffs. A Syndra this early with double buffs is like going into your favorite fast food restaurant and not getting the chicken you deserve. It's just so hard to deal with. And you're saying, where is it? What am I going to do? There's pressure on you, and there's no grease in your hands. There's a 1 kill on Serum, and with that second kill, I trailed off a little bit.
That feels more like a personal problem than something that's relatable.
It didn't happen to me, I swear, no.
Now, back to the bot lane.
Sure.
We saw earlier on Shiloh just walking at Nausicaa and trading. Nausicaa's doing what most Morganas do, which is throw out the Black Pool, throw out the Binding, try and get little bits of trading, but you can't do that against Soraka, because any extended trade where she's then able to disengage from, she will slowly win out over the course of the lane. And with that barrier in the 2v2, I don't think there is really that much kill threat down here for Avant.
Shiloh, every time he lands that Q, it's going to be so easy for Hate to sustain this lane. Avant Academy, they're fighting back, but still 10 CS behind, and I think this early game has slowed down a little bit, which is good because it was turning into something very difficult very fast. Aeon's getting that assist. Where else does he move across the map? He's gotten that second Scuttle Crab, so there's a bit of a gold advantage. But the bottom lane seems like it's going to be the main focus for the time being for Avant Academy, especially when Pluto and Nausicaa are going so well.
While the bottom lane's, the game itself has slowed down, Ion's got the second Scuttle Crab. So Faulkner's just falling even further behind. And a lot of junglers are going to tell you if you lose both crabs, you're in a world of hurt, and that's what Faulkner's in. Now we should expect Ions to start contesting everything Faulkner tries to do. Don't let him get free camps. Don't let him get vision for free. Try and just mirror him because you're going to be stronger than him for about the next 10 minutes at this rate.
Well, Faulkner's coming to the bottom side. T-Gun, Nausicaa is low. Ground Zero converging in, the heal already used. Pluto, someone's going to have to flash. It's going to be Pluto to die, and it will be to Hate under turret. The heal was there, but the Ignite works better.
A little bit of a greedy Black Shield on Nausicaa, Black Shielding himself as he saw the Xin Zhao. But they get the trade kill. Great bind, locking him under the tower. Ignite ticks him down. Faulkner with the right idea, come in behind this extended lane and punish them. Just really well executed by Avant to get the trade.
And that is the way the cookie crumbles in that lane. With such early pressure, it's amazing that Hate and Shiloh have just done this well. It's the back off of that first kill. 10 CS ahead still. Tier stacking up with the Sheen. And an Ezreal Soraka that have this much comfort in lane this early is not a good sight for Avant Academy.
The problem with that comfort is Jhin is still stronger than Ezreal at this point. that BF Sword Jhin is going to dish out a lot of damage,
yeah.
especially relevant to just the Sheen tier. The thing is, if that Jhin doesn't get anything done, that tier stacks up. Ezreal's going to be way more important than him in about 5-10 minutes, and that's really big for Ground Zero because Ezreal's going to be a difficult champion for any of them to kill out of laning phase unless he happens to get caught by a Morgana Q or a Syndra stun.
And at the moment, they've been dodging it well. It's been off the back of Shiloh, really just bullying out this lane. Faulkner, meanwhile, is going to try to take his own Raptors, but Serum is taking half of them with him. The mid lane continues to digress forward. It's got the Dark Seal start for Serum. Maybe it's that next back with the Lost Chapter that makes a difference.
This is what's hard about getting shut down early as a jungler. Ions is going to monopolize every single crab that spawns. If it's spawning top, he'll be there. If it's spawning bot, he'll be there. Doesn't matter to him. And Xin, even when he's taking his own camps, is going to get harassed by the Syndra, who has control of mid lane as well. So he's going to have to look for more ganks like he found bottom, while Avant, with their control, can take a dragon.
Another part of that monopoly, the Infernal Drake first, and an objective that Avant Academy can really utilize with this composition. That'll go down in the next one. We've got another Infernal. I don't know. We'll just guess and say yes.
I hope, for Ground Zero's sake, it isn't another Infernal.
Otherwise, it's going to be crazy.
2 Infernals, going on 3 if they keep the dragon control. That becomes a really difficult thing to deal with when games go longer. And Ground Zero want this game to go longer. They want the Ezreal to start mattering. They need the game to go longer for the Xin Zhao to start mattering. So, for their sake alone, I hope it's not another Infernal.
Because Avant Academy already, they have the gold lead purely off the back of Aeons. Purely off of these Scuttle Crab captures. 20 CS ahead of Faulkner. And Faulkner, although he gets deep vision, although he tries to take away some of these camps, right now, Aeons is so huge. He's inside that ultimate rage for Faulkner. There is no 1v1 to be had.
Not only is there no 1v1 to be had for Faulkner, if Aeon chooses to, he will likely be blowing flashes very quickly in the 1v1. He will be pressuring him, as we see Hate pressuring down bot lane. While Jhin is stronger in those burst fights with the BF sword, the poke wall here is always going to go to Ground Zero. Ezreal and Soraka are both great at poking. As long as they don't get caught by an errant Morgana bind or the Jhin W, they can do this forever.
This is not something you normally see with the Morgana Jhin being pushed so hard back again. And although, yes, Pluto's still going to do more damage, Hate's comfortable in this lane. Everyone's moving down. Hate and Shiloh have to be careful. The curtain call landing on Shiloh first. T-Gun, this is just not what you want. They turn on Nausicaa. Hate with the outplay. Shiloh probably dies here, or maybe not. Hyper with the Ornhorn goes back and Serum the target against the wall. Immediately, Avant Academy turn back to Hyper. Now the grand chase as Hate, Cadence in there as well. Has Shockwave, Pluto flashes away. Faulkner over the wall, hasn't used the ultimate, but will get the first kill. Blocked out, and there goes another. Hate walks back in, and let me tell you something. Ground Zero are making a sure good performance here in their first game.
I tell you what, every single bit of that, Hate is the one that made it happen. That outplay to begin with, kiting out perfectly, dealing damage as he's kiting out, then coming back in strong. Every single thing Ground Zero got just then was because of him. Yes, Hyper rotated, yes, Orianna rotated, but none of that matters if he doesn't make that initial outplay, get that kill, start kiting up the river, knows where his team is coming from. I thought that we were going to be looking at mid lane for Ground Zero, but just like last week, it seems like Hate is making a real name for himself on this team.
Hate has been performing well throughout the weeks, and this time he gets the broadcast for himself. He is live, and he's doing Ground Zero proud. There's a 1k gold lead at 10, 11 minutes in the game, and although there's an Infernal for AV to claw some of that back, now with the Ezreal snowballing, there's a huge problem that needs to be addressed for Avant Academy.
The biggest problem that's going to happen is now Ions can't do what he wants to do to Faulkner. Faulkner in his bot side is a lot more comfortable with Ezreal having Manamune, Sheen, the ability to roam very easily. They have full lane control. They win the 2v2 quite easily now. If Ions decides to go in aggressive in bot side, they can react and help him out.
He actually goes to the top side, more comfortability. Cope in a bit of trouble and has to flash away, but it's way too late. Faulkner will secure an easy kill.
Faulkner, great timing there. Kit's a bit stuck. They were able to save the Ornhorn as we see Orianna avoid a 3-man dive there. And I think that's very important to note.
Oh, Unleashed Power doesn't come through. The Shockwave brings it back. Serum actually going to take one, but not the second. Walks away from the Dark Binding as well, but for Avant Academy, this will get him back on the board. First turret blood.
Cadence was doing his absolute best to stall that out. Ground Zero are on both the top and bottom turret, and he was just trying to buy enough time that they could take the first turret blood. It just wasn't enough, but if they are able to get both turrets, which they might not be able to right now.
A collapse coming down, T-Gun. Aeons is coming through. Hate there wants to take the challenge. Aeons a bit of damage, but Hate trying to outplay the fight. He's going to get Ignite, and he's not going to go down until that last kill. Norzga gets at the root there as well. Scatter the weak to add the CC.
Really, really good collapse there by Avant. Jin with the ultimate really early on sets it up. We saw him do that last time as well. Just force them, if you don't hit them, to back away slower. Keep them in your range. Let the Morgana ulti get off. Let her get that flash Q that we saw to clean up the Soraka at the end of that fight. And while the game is getting a little bit hectic, Ground Zero losing a little bit of control, they're going to regain that control that they just lost with the Rift Hammer.
I think T-Gun, we're getting spoiled for games tonight. We're having explosive, exciting, and enticing games. Avant Academy, they take the lead at 13 minutes, and with those two turrets on the board, Ground Zero, the response is Rift Herald. That should match one for them. Hate and Charlo now move mid, and as mid-game gets closer and closer and pretty much begins right here, you have to say that it's a bottom lane now versus what the mid lane's developed in Serum.
Everything is going to come down to how much poke can Hate land before fights break out. Because we know fights are going to break out. They've been happening all over the shop all game long. With the mid lane turret, are they going to spend the Rift Herald early? Or do they hold onto it for a bit longer and try and break an inner with it? You see Avant sending their duo top, so they're not interested in the fight. Whereas Ground Zero are pretty much setting up for the next dragon.
Hate and Shiloh mid lane. Next dragon, T-Gun in 20 seconds. Is it going to be another Infernal? I didn't see the last one, but if it is, Avant Academy have that condition on the board. A team comp that can find these picks and then siege so easily.
We see Rift Herald being channeled.
Okay. Faulkner from the side.
This is being done purely to secure both the mid tower and dragon here. Once they remove the wave and guide this Herald in, they should be just going straight to the dragon, straight to the Cloud Drake, take it down. It doesn't kill the tower. Ooh. Was that because Ion smited it?
Potentially, T-Gun, potentially.
That could have been the 200 IQ big brain smite that they needed.
So you expect that from someone like, you know, maybe Scam Diggity with the help of Alaris. They got some big brains. But now Aeon's showing he's part of the crew. This is a Cloud Drake. And unfortunate for Avant Academy, but they'll take it anyway.
It's surprising that Avant were able to take this pretty easily. Hyper stayed top while Avant's duo lane roamed down instead of following them, so they do get it. But it just shows the priority that they both placed on Cloud Drake. It wasn't really that big. Avant were happy to send their duo lane top. Ground Zero were happy to try and throw the Rift Herald mid to take the tower instead of the Drake. Just not that much priority on it. I think that's a mistake. Now they have two Drakes, they'll probably get a third on Avant's side, and if the game goes long enough, that Elder Drake becomes a problem. Ground Zero have sort of dug themselves a hole, whereas Avant are setting themselves up to be fine in that late game situation.
I think we haven't really seen many Elders in OCS though, T-Gun. It's been an objective that hasn't really come around.
At least not on Thursdays. I know the Wednesday games this week, they were all at least 35 minutes long, so it could have happened there.
Yeah, but now do we see one today? Some pretty quick games today, all explosive. But 15 minutes in, 11 kills. Avant Academy retain that lead, however small. Serum waiting for his pick, the unleashed power, going to start doing damage. And if he can get Shiloh with that level advantage, 4 levels over the support, that Soraka is dead.
It's so difficult for Syndra to do her job against a Soraka. Anyone that she picks, if Soraka's in range, is going to get healed up. Syndra's going to get silenced, so her burst is a little disjointed. And it's just about as annoying as playing against the Tahm Kench with Syndra. So Silo doing a good job there, staying with his Ezreal, also not extending too much. Knows that his job is sit behind your team and support them, make sure they can't get blown up, instead of going and getting wards out, as we see a TP behind from Hyper.
So now forcing the fight, Charlo's with the team, a good dodge from Hate, but what else comes through? Ornhorn, a read there for Aeon to use the collateral damage to get back, but they're onto the Soraka. Shiloh, the heal, the ignite, he's down. A pick for AV as they walk forward. Pluto finds another, Hyper under the turret, and aggressive it is. They find the snipe, they find another, and the curtain call will do nothing but send them back home.
Hyper thought he was making a proactive play, but Avant healed backwards almost perfectly, disengage, then re-engage on the priority targets. Graves survives, getting ping-ponged around at the start there for a little bit. And now Avant going to take an inner, going to take control of the game, probably be up about 4k gold after everything's counted. And as they come out of base, they'll likely have pink wards and just take control of, in my opinion, the bot side of the map.
They want to fight. Faulkner's on the bottom and Cadence was ready to go in. They say no. It's too dangerous, and Avant Academy get 2 turrets with the fight. And now a 4k gold lead. This game's accelerated once again.
I feel like an accelerated game is going to help Avant out. Accelerated games mean Ezreal does not get that time to snowball, does not get that time to get his items into effect. Soraka's going to be stuck on just a naked Ardent sensor for a long time. No redemption, no Mikhail, no Locket, no more supportive items to help out when dives happen. And that time we saw he got caught, he survived for quite a while. Barrier, ultimate, every other sort of way he could stall. The faster the game goes, the less tanky he is in all these fights, the faster he'll get blown up. So even if he's out of position for just a second, Avant are going to capitalize and remove him from the map.
And this is the issue that Ground Zero now face. The slower game worked for them, but the pick comp from Avant Academy is so easy to execute. With a Morgana, with a Jhin, you got Serum, there is so much CC. One misstep from Ground Zero, like that, they could find themselves at the wrong end of a Syndra Orb.
They have to be so careful of Syndra Orbs, and she's going to be throwing them out constantly. They don't last as long as they used to, but you can still pretty freely spawn them and constantly threaten that long-range stun. That is going to be a very, very easy way for them to start generating picks.
With Syndra on the front of this fight, Ground Zero have to be careful where they walk. Hate takes a massive chunk of damage from that. The Serum will tank it up for a little bit. That bottom lane turret is not meant to be. Avant Academy, the next wave's going to do it.
This turret is now like a little bit of a bait. Ground Zero are going to want to defend it, but they can dive that at any time. If Avant make any sort of pick, they can go in, hit the turret once, it'll fall over, and start the fight that they seem to be looking for.
I mean, there's a top wave building there for Ground Zero, but there's no one to match it. Back goes Serum. They defend it for now, but you've got Pope coming up the side wave, and everything's working well for Avant.
I'm surprised they were able to defend that tower. Like you said, Pope's going to sit down there. He's going to start threatening it. But it feels like Avant could have taken it already. Ground Zero did stand their ground, did say, not today, not right now. And that is a bunch of gold sitting on the map for Avant that they're unable to capitalize on.
But they're still 4k gold ahead. Next Dragon coming up. 1 minute, Baron 20 seconds. And this feels like an early threat of the Baron game, especially the way Avant Academy are going. They don't have to force it, they just have to bring Ground Zero to their grounds.
Before they start threatening the Baron, they are going to go take that Dragon. They've already got the vision control around it. You can see the pinks, you can see the wards. Pope even maintaining that bot push. So regardless of what Drake it is, they're going to go take it. Again, threaten that late game Elder Dragon with 3, 4, 5 Drakes, empowering it.
Winions! Winions!
Not enough. Not enough. Purple caster minions still maintain to be better than blue ones.
Of course. So biased. Close enough though. The 20-minute mark has finally come across. But look at this from Avant Academy. They're trying to get that pick. They just want to open up the map even more. Ground Zero ready to play.
It's interesting to me that Avant have went to take control of this top side before taking the Dragon. Now, Baron is obviously the more important objective, but they're not going to be able to take Baron without generating a pick, and it's going to be a lot harder for them to do that in Ground Zero's red side than their blue side.
I think T-Gun for Ground Zero, it's a story about getting that first win with a couple of players that we've seen through the open ladder. I'm talking about Faulkner and Cadence. Hey, we haven't seen much of, and Faulkner poking his head forward. Serum dealing out the damage right now. Ground Zero trying to overcome the Avant Academy roster, who are about growth, and the same objectives there in the OCS, but now it's about getting that first win and moving forward to take on the likes of teams like Chiefs Academy, teams like Dire Cubs, who are just going really well at the moment. Turret will finally fall. Avant Academy, let's see what else they can do with this goal.
They're starting to show that they are a team that can hang with those teams that you just mentioned, Dire Cubs, Chiefs Academy. It's a very controlled method of play here, which is not what you would have expected if you were just watching the first 10 minutes of this game. They've slowed it right down. They just took the Dragon, they just took the bot tower. They're starting to remove all of these standing objectives. Ions, again, taking away Faulkner's jungle. And they're just slowly constricting Ground Zero out of the game. soon this will result in a Baron bait that we've seen teams like QUT do before. And all they're going to do is sit near Baron, throw out Morgana Qs, throw out Jin Ws, throw out Syndra stuns, try and find that little mistake that Ground Zero put out. And if it happens, it'll be a very quick Baron and then a very quick inhibitor for Avant.
Let me take up your point of slowing the game down, though. For Ground Zero, perfect. Even with that gold discrepancy. Hey, now with the Trinity Force, now with the Muramana, this is going to be another tier as he goes back. And can start scaling up even further. With that 3-item Ezreal, that's when you say, okay, the fights for the bottom side are not going to go well. We have to rely on Serum, we have to rely on Aeons, and if they can get towards Hate, who's going to be protected by every single member from Ground Zero.
The real protection from Ground Zero, especially for Hate, is going to come from Cadence's Orb and Ultimate. He's not going to want to just sit back and leave the Orb shielding Hate and peeling back. He's going to need to be a little bit more aggressive, trying to throw the Orb onto the important members of Avant, in the Syndra, in the Jhin, potentially even on the Graves, as they look to engage here.
There's the Ornhorn, the Shockwave can actually reach it, hits one, deleted off of Summoner's Rift, and Ground Zero immediately get the pick, and Baron helps out for Serum. Oh boy, that's a good start.
They're going to have to try and take Baron here. Trundle is going to threaten that bot lane inhibitor. And yes, they got the 2 kills. Yes, they got the picks they needed to try and take this buff. But the jungler's alive. The ADC is alive. So they have the tools to both stall this out and potentially, if they don't get the Baron, slow them down long enough that Trundle will take that inhibitor.
Trundle's onto the inhibitor turret. This Baron is going down so slowly. Ground Zero, the collateral damage will add to the damage itself. Pluto on the side. Everyone at half health. Aeon's ready to go in. He goes over the wall, and they get it with Jhin. Pluto stole the Baron. They have to go back empty-handed. They lose their inhibitor. They'll only get the jungler.
That is always the threat of going for a Baron when the enemy team has people that are able to contest it. Yes, the Graves didn't get it, but the Jhin is also there, as we've seen Nausicaa force Hyper to flash away. Now, they get that bot lane inhibitor. They get all of that pressure that Ground Zero had removed is back on them. And now with Baron buff, adding to the already threatening pick potential from Avant, they're going to be able to siege up turrets, and Ground Zero are going to need another great engage that we just saw before, or this one's going to be over for them.
I think Pluto either got that with a rapid-fire cannon stack or a deadly flourish. If it was the latter, I got to say, that is some skillful bastard right there.
I don't think it doesn't matter how he got it.
He got it.
That's all that matters.
That's right. What a way to accelerate the game once again for Avant Academy. 6k gold up, and right now Pluto sitting as the MVP. This is going to be difficult for Ground Zero to hold on and, again, slow down that game.
As we're in a little bit of a lull here, Ezreal picked up a QSS. Now, you want him to still be building damaging items, still be scaling. I feel like it's a bit too late for a second tier at this point. And it shows. All he wants to do is survive, peel back, keep damaging. If he does get tagged by a Morgana Q, a Jhin W, a Syndra E, he's pretty much dead. And Soraka is still a world away from his tails, so he does make that concession, spend that money, and get the QSS to ensure his survivability, even though he's already been playing really well in avoiding the engage tools from Avant Academy.
Well, Baron buff is ticking away though, T-Gun, and Avant Academy now want to push the mid lane turret. You can see that they're running a bit of a 1-3-1 with a mix of Nausicaa in the mid lane now. That'll be taken away. Ground Zero getting pushed up against, and that gold lead is just jumping forward. Bottom lane supers, and Shiloh, my friend,
they need
cannot
to engage.
do that.
They have to engage, otherwise Trundle is going to take their bait.
Shiloh has the barrier. That's just the problem here. Shiloh will run away, but Hate gets taken away. This is not good.
That's the pick potential from Avant that we were talking about. They can take down people from long range, and Hate, even with QSS, heal, Soraka ultimate, Soraka W, doesn't do enough.
Call of the Forge got Hyper there with a 3-man knockup, survives long enough, but Pluto at the end will go down. 5 members hit up this inhibitor. Now they're running for the Nexus turrets.
I feel like if they don't get the Nexus at this point, they get the triple inhib. All they have to do, the conservative thing, fall back, reset, come back with all 3 lanes spawning double supers, and end the game.
Shockwave was just used. They find Soraka again. Pluto is on a rampage. They run into Faulkner. They'll find a double kill. And Avant Academy, what a convincing performance. They steal the Baron, they steal the hearts of Ground Zero, and they steal away their first win of the OCS.
What a way to do it. A Baron steal like that, Ground Zero felt like they just got back into the game. They got a couple picks, they'd been just stalling out, looking for it. And then Jin comes across and says, not today. Trundle gets an inhib with that Baron. Already taking that bot inhib when Baron then falls. You have Baron on Trundle, on Graves, on Jin. They're just going to sit the Trundle in top lane, let the rest of the team sit in mid, which is what they did. Start fishing for the picks, which is what they got. Ends in their first victory.
For Ground Zero, they came so close. There were moments where you were saying, hey, this is where Hate really excels. And it's another game where the bottom lane actually got themselves ahead, but the rest of Ground Zero just could not keep up that momentum.
It was definitely live and die by the bot lane. We saw that in both Hate's item choice and his playstyle. He was trying to be as aggressive as possible without dying, and that's what come back to bite him at the end, is he needs to be so aggressive and in danger just the whole time that when the enemy gets strong, and Avant was strong, we saw that with how much damage Serum was dealing out, just getting caught, just getting touched on the edge of either a Syndra stun or a Jin W or a Jin R is enough to kill him, and it just wasn't enough from Hate, even though it was a great effort.
Was a great effort for Ground Zero, still without a win, but for Avant Academy, they pick up their first. Ladies and gents, going to a 5-minute break when we return our very last match of the night to see if Dire Cubs can continue their run. And welcome back to the OCS for more eventful action. This is week 3, and I am Hysterics. That is T-Gun. You know who we are, and you know what we're up against. Bombers Academy and Dire Cubs. Now take it to the rip.
I want to say Dire Cubs are the favorite here. They
I think so.
came in as a dark horse. No one was really expecting much from them. 2-0 so far. Bombers, they were expected to do better than they are. 0-2. They need this victory. And I feel like it's a difficult opponent because they're an opponent that's been upsetting everyone already.
I feel like it's the back off of one player. It's not to say one's doing well, but I have to say the jungler from Dire Cubs is just kicking butt right now. Udisoft is someone you need to watch, but let me start with Bombers Academy over here because Sugoi in the top lane. Not sure if that's confirmed there. I thought we had a sub coming through, but we'll double check that one. Treasy in the mid lane. That's someone who had a pretty good week, and I know you like Treasy.
I think if Bombers are going to win, they have to look more to him.
Yeah.
Get Back is, stylistically to me, a roaming mid laner. He seems to play more roaming things, whereas Treasy doesn't. He plays either control or aggressive mid laners. Cassiopeia is one of his favorites. So, if they are going to win, it has to be through there. The question is, can they stop Udisoft from taking over the game, which he has done before?
He really has. Biopanther had an explosive last week. I love the Cho'Gath. I love what Dire Cubs have been doing. And now against Sugoi, who, yes, is confirmed. Let's see if Biopanther can, once again, take off.
I don't think he's going to get Cho'Gath again. That's for sure.
Look,
that was a pretty fun game for him. Not fun for the opponents, and I don't think Bombers want to be on the receiving end of that.
It definitely was. But for Dire Cubs, as you said, it's unexpected for them to be 2-0 at the start. They're going up against Bombers Academy, who have very experienced members in the roster. They haven't got a win just yet, but I think Dire Cubs are going to be dealing with a pretty difficult team here.
Difficult, yes, but they're definitely up to the challenge. They've shown that before. They've shown that they can be aggressive when needed. They show that they have the ability to make individual outplays as well. That's an important thing from a new team. You look at the names on Dire Cubs, you don't really recognize many of them, but they have that individual skill. They have that flair they can show, which is really important, especially, you know, Biopanther up top, Udisoft in the jungle, both of them have shown that. Now it's time for Get Back to sort of take that control, show that he is the mid laner that can contest for the best. Hopefully he gets something like Talia that he can roam on, or Aurelion Sol, maybe even go to Zoe, which we've seen before today. Be aggressive and be the focus of your team instead of playing that secondary role.
First week, Dire Cubs had rookie QQ in the mid lane. Last week, it was Get Back, and he was on the Talia. This week, it is about Get Back and how he can be enabled by Udisoft, how he can be, I guess, unlocked.
It feels like you really want him to play Ziggs.
I feel like Ziggs would be a really good champion, and I was trying to juggle there, but I can't. Don't ever let me juggle. If someone pulls up Ziggs, right? If someone pulls up Ziggs, I'm sorry, this feels like a first. I could do 2, but all you have to do is just do that. That's okay. Thank you very much.
Why
Mr.
did
Producer.
they put the solo on you? They encourage that.
I love the
producers
OCS.
encourage this.
How good is it to be back, Tegan? Once you were playing in the OCS, you had a pretty good split as X5, and now you're casting with me.
Well, I didn't play with X5. I played with Abyss.
Okay,
thank you very much.
Sorry. No, hang on.
I don't want to take that away from Blinky and his squad. They came through as X5. They did very, very well.
They did very well. I beg your pardon. So it was Abyss, but you eventually came through and you dominated your league. Anyway, let's get off you for a second. For the Dire Cubs, will it be about that support for Katsuri and Johnson? There hasn't been much focus on them. For Sprenstammer and Iogas, I feel like we've really put it on the back of them.
It's interesting that there hasn't been much focus down there for Dire Cubs, but they also haven't made many mistakes. They've been very solid down there. You don't really even think about them. You just think bot side's going to go even. Don't even worry about it. Let's think about other sides of the map. Bomber starting up, banning Talia. I'm upset because I wanted to see Get Back play it, but
we saw him last week, Tig, and I guess that's enough for now. And Get Back maybe on another champion, or it has to be. Udisoft still going to put the focus on him. The priority, the Trundle, maybe a big priority for Dire Cubs.
Maybe they get Graves. You see Kha'Zix banned out, so they are aware that there is strength there.
Yep.
Giving him Graves, I feel like, is the same as giving him Trundle. You're giving him a great jungler that he's already shown he's good on them, so especially in 8.10 where early power is paramount for the junglers. Do you ban out a jungler here and first pick one? Or do you just leave them both up in Graves and Trundle and just take whichever one doesn't get taken?
Well, because for Sleepy, I mean, there's been less priority there. Sleepy and Sequoia, the new 2 top, like top and jungle. For Bombers Academy, they are the least experienced, the least competitively experienced.
At the same time, I'm not sure it's worth narrowing down the pool there. They banned Xin Zhao. We did see it last game. Unfortunately, didn't see it pop off. Obviously, Bombers still agree that it is a strong pick. And on the other side, you have Dire Cubs banning out just strong picks. Cassiopeia is a bit more of a target pan, but Rakan and Varus, both well-known strong picks. Interesting they ban out Varus when there's no other ADC bans. Ezreal and Caitlyn are both able to deal with it in lane. I guess Varus is one of the champions that's less likely to take TP and more likely to try and fight your bot lane, and maybe that's what they're afraid of.
He definitely is, and we've seen, you know, differences in 8.10. The ban phase hasn't really been the same from game to game. With the first pick, Graves, I mean, that has been the same game to game, but now for Dire Cubs, this response, I think, is going to be pretty crucial to how they shape their comp.
I feel like Graves is much like Ornn, just a really safe early pick. We do see the Trundle, like I said, pick one, let the inverse go away, or vice versa. Now, if you're looking for a safe pick, Kai'Sa's a good one. They do lock it in. I was also going to say Ornn might be a priority here, so Bombers don't get it. Potentially even Vladimir, which has been left open as well.
So, no Ornn, but now for the opportunity for Bombers, yes. Okay, so for Bombers Academy, I guess for Treasy, he played the Zoe, and we saw him just power through. Although it wasn't a win, it was the win condition for Bombers. Whether that's safe to pick now or not, I guess, is a big question.
It feels like if you are going to pick a mid, you don't really want to pick it in this rotation because you're not getting the counter pick.
Of course.
If you are going to pick a mid that isn't giving you a counter pick, you're essentially saying you can either play every matchup that there is available to it, or you're just picking something super safe like Orianna, which can play into anything. So instead of doing that, Ezreal, Ornn, again, just two very safe picks.
Yeah.
I was questioning why they didn't take Ornn over perhaps Trundle there, because Trundle was never going to get picked away by Bombers unless they wanted to go Graves Trundle and assume Ornn's going to be picked. Then you open yourself up to wild things. Let's not go down that road. What did Dire Cubs pick here? I feel like they have to pick their top lane because
like what?
Apparently not.
Or not.
Or maybe.
Or maybe, T-Gun, yeah, let's not take it away. It's Yasuo. It's one we've seen in the OCS, but not on the Dire Cubs. And 8.10 still travels through.
It still could be Trundle top as well.
It still could be.
There's a lot of potential for Dire Cubs to rotate their champions around and put them wherever they want. Banning Aurelia, that makes me think that it is Yasuo mid. They're banning out mid champions. Feels really weird still, by the way, saying Aurelia's a mid champion.
It does.
It doesn't sit quite right for me. I guess it is a flex champion. It can be played top still, but you just see it in mid all the time. Bombers answering with Morgana. Fair ban. They know that none of these champions are really great in support. Yes, you can send Trundle there, but not really worthwhile. Do they keep the focus bot lane, though? Do they then ban out, potentially, Tahm Kench?
Well, if you're looking at maybe the bottom lane, maybe you get rid of the Alistar, because right now Morgana's taken away, but another support ban from Bombers Academy. There's something to enable it. It's taken away from Dire Cubs. So now where does the priority sit? Because this is kind of inversed.
I feel like Alistar for Bombers wouldn't have been the correct ban because they had the Ezreal. They ban out the Cho'Gath.
That's a shame.
Respect. He earned that.
He definitely
earned
did.
it. Braum, one of the safest, best bot laners to pick right here. Also, a decent pick into Kai'Sa, so fair pick for them to take away here if they do lock it in, which is they do.
Yep. So I'm going to be the Braum locked in, and that's a final pick for Dire Cubs that I'm curious for because it'll shape where the Yasuo goes and confirm that. But look at the bans, yes, but maybe for Bombers, pick around it.
It's also a weird thing to ban Alistar when you have the Yasuo. It's obviously a great champion to set up the Yasuo ulti, so obviously they preferred the Braum over it, not for setting up the Yasuo, just in general team comp idea. Just strikes me as a little bit odd if you are going to take a stylistic champion in Yasuo that you leave him with very few abilities to get in.
But the only support pretty much left available, Iogus opts in for the Tahm Kench. We haven't seen a Lulu tonight, even though we were expecting it for Bombers. There's an Engage there. There's a couple of tanks, but last pick for Treasy. He doesn't go for Zoe. Instead, something like the Rise.
We have seen him play it before. I'm not sure about how much I like it into the Yasuo, but it is a champion that he's comfortable on. Tahm Kench,
yes.
Not sure I love it. Sion.
Yes.
This is the nerfed Sion as well.
This is nerfed. Who cares? I mean, Roar the
Slayer
might be down. He's like, hey, we got a Yasuo though. I'm pressing R. I'm going in. It's the pain train. And I have to expect that, yes, that is a Sion top. Well, hang on.
No, they're not going that crazy, right? It's going to be a Sion top. He's a speed demon. It's just surprising that they pick him in his slightly nerfed form. I still like it, mind you. I still think it's good. I think if he's able to get a lot of poke down on Ornn, they can do what we saw earlier with Froggadog doing it to Ornn and punish him. No, it is.
Okay, yeah,
So
look.
just calm down.
I'm just making sure, my friend, it's a potential that I was looking forward to. So for Die Cups here, this is a comp that really wants to fight Tegan. I see it right here. They want to fight.
They want to bring back the Biff. That's all they want to do. It just strikes me as change. Kai'Sa taking heal, Ezreal taking teleport. It's going to be hard for them in bot lane to be as effective, especially if Ezreal's able to safely get back at 700 gold, 750, get the tier early, and teleport straight back. He's going to scale up quite quickly. It's up to, I want to say, Die Cubs to be proactive in this game, to stop Bombers from scaling and playing safely. And they have the tools to do it. They have Sion, who's able to go very deep very quickly. Yasuo is going to want to be fighting, like you said, so is Kai'Sa. Braum is going to be able to not only stop a lot of the damage coming out of Bombers, but also help initiate. And Trundle, while he's not generally going to be the one initiating, is very likely going to receive more help than Graves does in the early game.
But this is the final game of the night for the OCS, and what a way to finish. Yasuo in the mid lane for Get Back, and Dire Cubs looking for their third win. Bombers looking for their first.
What a comp for Bombers to pick for their first win. It's a very straightforward standard comp aside from the Rise. And when I say Rise isn't standard, I just mean most recently. It's been a pretty historic pick for mid, just constantly there. It's not like it's out of left field, like Morgana mid.
Yeah,
it's more of a standard pick, and I want to say a pretty easy comp for them to execute. Whereas Dire Cubs, while they have a little bit more of a complex comp to execute, the payoff is bigger for them.
But there's inspiration from Get Back. Get Back went with the Direwolves as the sub overseas. He went to MSI. Get Back comes back, and you can see kind of the influence. Although we have, yes, seen Yasuo in the meta and in the OCS before, for Get Back, it's like, how do you show your influence from the OPL team? How do you show your influence from the international squad? You've got the experience, and you have to think that for Get Back, he would most likely be the shot caller in this team.
I'm not sure he would be the shot caller. It feels like a bit of an assumption to make, even though I'm sure he does have that experience benefiting him. We would look for him to show that experience more in matchup knowledge, more in just how he plays. And picking Yasuo shows he is comfortable picking aggressive things in the mid lane. We see the jungler starting opposite side, and it looks like nothing fancy, just going to be crab takes and then probably standard jungling.
But hang on, we saw a Trundle gank mid before, T-Gun. It's going to be spotted out, and I think B52 were watching the last game. Ubisoft probably not going to get anywhere with this as Treasy just waits back.
It's a very, very smart ward from Bombers. Not only does it let him know that the gank is coming, it also lets him know that the Trundle is going to be going for that bot crab while Graves goes into the top side of Dire Cubs. The difference is the red buff is gone, so Sleepy's not going to get as much as Ubisoft if Ubisoft chooses to go into Bomber's red side after taking the crab.
Sleepy takes away the Raptors from the Dire Cubs jungler though, and this is proactive moves from the Graves. Next, Scuttle Crab waiting up, and Sleepy surely going to go back after hitting this level 3. No, sorry, will hit level 3 from the Scuttle Crab.
And again, that ward is what allows it all. He's able to safely take the Raptors, then go take the crab. And because Dire Cubs don't have the same information on the Graves, Ubisoft isn't able to go in, take away the red, 3-buff his opponent. Instead, he goes back to his blue buff, now to his Gromp, and plays a bit more passively.
Sleepy walking up to the top side. It's not too late for Sion. Panther cautious again. Some good ward control to start us off, and I think that's what's been lacking in a couple of the games, is getting the information on the board nice and early. But within 3 minutes in, they see the priority around Scuttle, and they make sure that information is local.
Now with the knowledge that Graves was top, you see Ubisoft going in. The thing is, that Graves is fast, and he's getting down to this red buff.
He's brought Treasy with him as well. Ubisoft, I don't think he was spotted out. Sleepy just doing the camp.
He could go mid here.
He's sneaking out. The convergence there. That's what we wanted to see. Treasy ignited. Ubisoft walks forward. They turn to Sleepy, and Yasuo has no Hazaki, and Sleepy just flashes out.
I feel like Sleepy is lucky to escape with his life there. Get Back doesn't follow him, probably because he knows that Tahm Kench is coming up to help save him. But that is probably the best case scenario for Bombers. Yes, they use a lot to get out Rise Flash, Graves Flash, but they survive when Ubisoft and Get Back linked up really well in mid lane.
1 flash for the cost of 2, and not stealing away any Raptors. Get Back has to force a teleport away from Treasy, so maybe for Yasuo this will give him a safe back as this midway pushes it.
Even though he gets the safe back here, Treasy's going to end up in a more comfortable position. The only thing that's went wrong is if he was aiming to get that tier early, that's not going to happen anymore. He's already utilized the TP. He's not going to be able to get back very safely unless he clears these range minions and goes away straight away.
Because he'll match it nicely. Wave pushes in. The Bombers. What's really lacked in the past couple of weeks has been execution. It really has been. No, Tigger, no.
Biopanther up in this top lane needs to start making more work with his E.
Okay.
You can see him, he's losing mana. He's struggling a little bit with his sustain. And if he consistently doesn't hit those E's on the Ornn and start chunking him down, he will slowly lose the sustain war and be forced out of lane before Ornn is.
As the minion dematerializes, it's going to be easily matched by Seguin. The Bombers in the earlier weeks, as we do go to a pause, unfortunately. I think it was off the back of Biopanther there. No, I'm kidding. I actually don't know. We'll find out for you. Information coming soon. For Dire Cubs,
find out next.
Find out next time. For Dire Cubs, this is, again, a difficult to execute composition. If Get Back finds himself behind, is that the all and be all? What do you call it? The be all end all? That's it.
No, it's not. It's difficult, mind you, but it's definitely not the end of the world. What I worry about is Sion seems like he's not struggling, mind you, but he's not doing what he needs to do. He's not getting poke out with his E. He's not really threatening any kills. Yes, once he's post 6, he can do a bit more, but he hasn't been influential. Instead, we've seen the mid lane be influential. Ubisoft, yet again, doing work, getting in the mid lane. Get Back set him up, mind you, so more credit to Get Back than Ubisoft. But they do get those 2 flashes really early on.
Well, hang on. Ubisoft, though. That was some, I guess that was some really risky play, though. I think for Dire Cubs, that could have just turned on its head. The only reason it didn't is because at the moment there was no spot out. If Ubisoft was spotted out, that was a collapse coming in. And then it just stopped. It's like, oh, maybe he's not there anymore.
It is a collapse, but he still has ways out. So it is risky, I'll give you that, but it's not he's going to die if he's caught. It's more of a controlled risk. It's a, if this pays off, we get things out of it. We get 2 flashes, or potentially he gets the duel at the red buff. That's what he was really aiming for there, was to go in, check that the red buff is still there, try and figure out where the Graves is and react. And once he saw the Graves pass him, he's able to just go in and control that mid lane fight.
Dire Cubs have been so successful as we jump back into the last game of the night. They've been so successful over the past couple of weeks based on Ubisoft, and now with Get Back in the mix. About really controlling that mid lane. We're going to be spotted out here, so Sleepy, the jungle path, is known.
Now, while he knows he's here, Ubisoft is just laying in wait. He sees that Sleepy is going topside, so Biopanther is going to fall back. Ubisoft will likely look to go into the mid lane here and start punishing Treasy in his lack of a flash.
Well, the waves just keeps on pushing up. All the way up against Treasy. At the moment, it seems like topside for Sleepy. I think he got spotted out there with the Scryer's Bloom, not sure. Bombers early lead there, purely off the backside of this top lane. And the bottom lane holding on.
Get Back is doing pretty well in the mid lane, but I'd still like him to start threatening to get a kill here. And with the wave where it is, sort of push towards Bombers, it's not going to happen. What he wants is that wave to be pushing towards him so that he can dart through all the minions and start initiating on that rise, as opposed to this just sort of patient farm game that they're both playing, which I think will ultimately benefit Rise.
Which is what we want. Treasy has been the one to look at.
Look, I am a little biased and I do like Treasy, but I'm not going to outwardly say I just want him to win.
No, but look, last week it was a huge difference between maybe the Bombers taking a quick loss and the Bombers coming close. Was about Treasy. It was about how he played this mid-game. And on the back of that, there was a huge difference. Now last breath. I didn't expect this one from Get Back. He's just going to force Treasy out of the lane, which he has not done.
While he's forcing him out of lane, like I said before, there's just no kill pressure. And yes, forcing him out of lane is good. It's what you need to start doing, especially consistently as Yasuo. That farm is still going to go to someone. At very least, Graves is going to pick it up, but they are going to lose this blue most likely, which is pretty impactful to the Rise.
Well, Sleepy tries to get a collateral damage of waiting for it. Actually, sorry, doesn't have level 6, but now maybe the engage from Biopanther over the wall. Ubisoft just sitting there waiting for the pillar. He'll use the frozen domain. Sleepy in a lot of trouble. The Chomp will find its first blood, and yet again for a Trundle.
Just a great roam by Biopanther. He was out of lane for a good 20 seconds there. Sugoi didn't follow. He just shoved the wave and hoped that his team would be able to deal with it. And when you don't react to a roam like that and your team still tries to get the objective, Dire Cubs end up coming out on top because they are the ones that are being proactive.
Treasy was just forced out of lane by Get Back. Takes the long way around. Might not have that much impact, but you can see that Get Back starting to apply the pressure. Treasy being very cautious in the lane. Stay in the mid lane as long as possible. The roams will come out soon.
Now, Dire Cubs are going to take a slight lead here, get a bit of advantage. But look at Bomber's setup. They have a tier on Rise. They have a tier and a cull on Ezreal. They are very, very happy for this game to go over 30 for 35, 40 minutes and just sort of stall it out. The question is, are they going to be able to? Dire Cubs have a lot of engage.
Right now, pressure around the Dragon. It's the Mountain first, and you have to expect that this early Dragon take is going to be on the cards for Dire Cubs. Pushing up in the bottom wave, pushing up in the mid wave. And now for Sleepy to reset it and enable that Dragon take. He's going to try and make something happen bot, or peek his head in the jungle where Udisoft is.
I don't think there's much to be made bot. Like I've said before, Braum's a great champion and a good re-engage champion.
That's a good Devour, actually. That'll stop Katsuri going in, but Iogus has to flash away. Frozen Domain again. The Tahm Kench, the target here, and Katsuri, the damage on the side. Collateral damage with two-shot barrage. Johnson trying to take it up, but he won't. Sleepy will get the re-engage. He flashes forward. Sleepy, hello?
A bit too much he's asking for there. They already got what they needed. Iogus gets out with basically no health. Gets the perfect grey health usage off on Tahm. Lives on, I want to say, around 5%. Then they re-engage Sprintstama the whole time, dealing damage, dealing damage. They take down Johnson. They would have won the Summoner War quite easily. And that's what they want to do. They just want to take it very nice, very standard. And it looked like they had almost bitten off too much when they did gank with Sleepy. But as they kited back, they were able to deal with the counter gank from Udisoft.
There's that small benefit to Sprintstama to Iogus, and both of them not going down enables them to come back to this reset wave from Katsuri. Get Back wasn't able to get in, as you said, and until he gets that Phantom Dancer, I guess we won't see much from him unless he can get Treasy with the help of Udisoft.
And even if Udisoft is there, it's still a difficult kill for them to get. They have to come in from a very, very long distance. Get Back is going to have to do the majority of that damage. And Treasy hasn't been giving him those options. As Tahm Kench.
Voyage, Biopanther wants to charge. The Ornhorn's down and 4 members are up in the top lane. They get him as he walks out of turret range. Biopanther, he won't survive this one. It'll go to Sugoi, and even as a dead zombie, he won't find much.
I tell you what, Sion is a hard champion to dive, and they executed that perfectly with Abyssal Voyage. Get behind the Sion. Don't let him ult off to safety as Treasy gets into a bit of trouble here.
Ultimate actually used to subjugate onto Treasy the flash. Forced away by Get Back. And that'll push Treasy out of lane. Maybe that's it.
No, he's going to be able to get back into the lane and sort of stem the tower.
Nice one,
that was not deliberate, and it's going to happen constantly, and I'm going to hate myself for it. All he's trying to do is stop the tower from going down. We even saw Sugoi teleport bot lane because of this early roam from the Ezreal Tahm Kench to try and secure first turret blood, which they've done so successfully.
2k gold lead. Bombers. Couple of kills, couple of objectives in that first turret blood. 11 minutes in, they'll take the lead, but the Mountain Drake will actually reset a bit of this. CS developing in the bot side, the mid. At the top, this is unexpected for Sugoi. He's got a kill, and now, against Biopanther, I think he'll fall unpleasantly behind.
Very smart of Dire Cubs to take this dragon. They have to be assuming that the Rift Herald's being taken by Bombers, so they do equalize the objective, get a little bit back when they started to lose a bit of control. The question is, are they able to stop the Rift Herald, or is that Rift Herald going to blow open the mid tower and then likely the game? Because the only consistent thing right now for Dire Cubs is that they can rely on Get Back to push in the mid wave and control where Treasy is.
Because now he's got the Phantom Dancer. Get Back is about half a level ahead, I believe. Has the Ignite up and available. This is the fighting potential, considering Treasy went the phase rush. Yasuo wants to get early blood and hasn't been able to achieve that so far. It's been about the bottom lane and getting into, I guess, a fighting position for Dire Cubs. They're still behind in gold, but now that they have the Mountain Drake, let's see if they want to push that advantage.
I have to think that if he doesn't get a kill in the next 5 minutes, that Ignite is going to haunt him. He's going to start getting out-rotated, out-pressured by the Rise. And even though you do want that Yasuo in the side lane sometimes and he can out-pressure, it'll be very, very difficult to keep pace for a man with teleport in Treasy just sort of equaling where he is.
Playing the pacing slow, get back. Not actually getting sandwiched. Udisoft there, finds the knock-up onto Treasy. He'll be rooted down, and that'll be the burn going down. Perfect pillar from Udisoft, and now they have to make the grand escape though. T-Gun, Udisoft there in the knock-up range for the ultimate. He'll flash away, but Sleepy gets it. Get back running for his life. Sugoi finds the mark, the knock-up there. Sprint Starmer snipes him down.
I tell you what, Bombers keep making the best of bad situations. Iogus with a great eat there to make sure Sugoi's out. Now this Rift Herald is going to get 2 towers at this rate. If they just sit here as a team, there is no way this inner does not fall at this rate. Sion doing his best to trim the wave, but if he does that, he's going to take a lot of poke damage as the Rift Herald comes in. Now they get this turret, and Katsuri hasn't moved from bot lane while Treasy's teleported down there.
I mean, he just wanted to take the turret as a response, but he won't get anything from it. Bombers accelerate fast and find themselves 4K ahead.
It's been off the back of their bot lane as well. We talked them up in previous weeks, said they're the one that Bombers are going to want to lean on to start doing things, and Sleepy linking up with them multiple times, now them being proactive. Coming to that mid lane, I thought that Treasy had just died and that was it. Diacubs had made a great pick, but instead, Bombers don't give up. They rotate everyone in, they finish on the collapse on ultimate, doesn't connect, but slows them down long enough for them to convert the kill. Now they have even more control, a 4K gold lead this early on a scaling comp. That's a scary thing for Diacubs to be looking down on, and they're going to need to start looking for picks, looking for Sion to engage quickly, looking for more of that Trundle-Yasuo combination that we just saw in mid lane to start grinding back that gold difference.
And then we start questioning the priority of Ornn and where was it for Diacubs in this pick and ban, because already it has made such a difference. Sugoi coming into these fights versus Biopanther, it's remarkable, and imagine if that Ornn was on the side of Diacubs, maybe the difference would have been noticeable.
I think you're absolutely right, is that Sion, it's a personal pick. He's obviously said that he wants this champion, very likely in this matchup, and it has not looked very good right now. It's looked like Ornn's just been controlling him. Yes, he's been sort of smothered. There's been a lot of ganks. We saw the early Tahm Kench and Ezreal roam up there, so he hasn't just been playing the lane in the 1v1 that he very likely wants, but he's also not more influential in team fights. It's very hard to beat the utility of an Ornn ultimate, even when you can throw yourself in the back line, and he has to start getting active on the map, or else there is real questions about their drafting.
Because there hasn't been an unstoppable onslaught that's engaged the fight. It's either been coming in late or maybe escaping. Bombers with their bottom lane mid. Now there's an opportunity. Biopanther has teleport and the ultimate available. When does the next engage come through? Because Bombers, they've slowed the game down after this gold lead, and they have all right to do so with the rise with an Ezreal. Yes, there may be good scaling on Diacubs, but for Bombers, they can easily match.
The problem with Sion having teleport here is there's no real great places for him to try and teleport ulti. There's no great way for him to get in to initiate these team fights besides trying to push out the wave and come down the river himself. The teleport then used to sort of stop someone from split push. What Diacubs are going to start relying on is that Yasuo to win the side lane split on his own. But he can't do that if Bombers just rotate on it.
That's going to happen. Bombers are rotating as we speak. Get back, patiently waiting, and good moment to do so. He's just going to hang back. Get back doesn't want to get caught out, and next dragon coming up in a minute. Bombers have full control of this bot side, wards and all. Udisoft get back, patiently waiting for Trees to overstep his mark, but I think Bombers are calculating these situations quite well.
I have to think Diacub's well aware of this next Drake, is sending Sion to very quickly clear a wave and then start coming down on the flank, come down through the river, through the mid lane, and get ready to ulti in. As we see a Tahm Kench ulti down bot lane.
Not good. Get back will get the knock up perfectly timed, but that doesn't save the turret.
That is a great escape from Get Back. Like I said before, he wants to be in this side lane, but Bombers aren't going to let him casually sit down there. They are going to aggressively rotate on him time and time again. 20 seconds till the Dragon. Biopanther still in top lane. If he stays there after that wave, he's essentially conceding Dragon to Bombers, although it doesn't look like it's a big priority for him.
Doesn't. Biopanther holds onto the teleport and to see another day maybe. Troll's still there and moving towards the top side of the map, maybe breaking that outer towards Biopanther might enable him to get on the map a bit more. But right now it feels like Dicubs are split up. They don't really have a priority and objective. But maybe, Tegan, they're not playing towards their win condition. What are they doing?
I feel like their win condition is to find a pick while 4-1-ing. Find a pick while Yasuo is in a side lane to really let Yasuo do his thing. Because right now, Bombers are free to roam on Yasuo constantly, and Dicubs now finally trying to show a little bit of aggression, but it might be too much.
Ubisoft steals a jungle camp, but for what? He gets picked off by Bombers. The Grump was not worth there, can confirm.
Now, the problem there is that's what they need to be doing. They need to be aggressive. They need to be in the jungle, but it looks like Get Back's too far forward with a double TP.
Segoy, the charge is there. He dashes through him. You'll have the knock up shortly. Segoy using the teleport, and Get Back getting out maybe will be worth it.
Get Back constantly surviving these roams is what's really keeping Dicubs in this game. He needs to be in that side lane pressuring and forcing them to roam down. And then once that happens, Dicubs should be trying to take objectives on the other side. Back to the invade by Ubisoft. That is what Dicubs need to be doing, which is drawing Bomber's attention and being aggressive, just not that aggressive. He was just a little bit too far forward, gets caught by the Ornn, and gets blown up because he simply isn't tanky enough yet.
Because if that happens again, Bombers might find themselves a free Baron this far ahead. 6k gold in their back pocket with the Cloud Drake to add. Baron's up in 50 seconds, and Sprenstammer and Iogus, they're going to reset, as well as Sleepy and Treasy. They're getting ready.
I tell you what, Sprenstammer is well ahead of where he wants to be right now. Second tier, Muramana, Iceborne Gauntlet, all already finished before the 20-minute mark. The only question I have is, why the Iceborne over the Trinity when you're ahead? Does a little bit less damage, it does keep you alive, but I feel like with how well he's been positioning and how well he's been playing, he could have made that Trinity Force. Thing is, with the Iceborne, as they rotate mid, he'll be a bit more safe.
It's happening again. Call the Forge God. It's on to the AD carry. Katsuri bitten off a bit more than he can chew as he ults. Sleepy over the side. Collateral damage. Ready to say kaboom, but they've found the engage. They've found the Yasuo ultimate. Get Back now popping off. He's onto Sprenstammer. Will be rooted down. Flashes away. Spren walks forward. One more hit as Ubisoft blocks for him, and there's a Scion and Biopanther that wants to save the day. He'll die so that the rest can live.
That was the exact engage that Dicubs have been looking for all game. Scion ultimate into Yasuo ultimate, take the 5v5. Well executed by them. Get Back steps a little too far forward at the end there, almost dies, and Biopanther has to donate his life in retaliation. But that is pretty good for Dicubs. They're looking to take those even trades when they're down. I believe it was about 6,000 gold.
Yeah.
Even trades are good for you.
Even trades are good, but for Dicubs, that was more than an even trade. That really built into a big fight. Another one of those could be huge. We are in the middle of a pause, unfortunately. Just a couple of issues. We'll move on forward shortly. This is a game that's kind of spiced up, though. It was Bombers taking the lead with 6,000 gold, and now it's going to be a blast.
These are getting worse and worse.
No, they're getting better and better.
I disagree.
Depends. It's always 10 o'clock.
So I brought these from home. These are mine. I regret bringing these.
Why? Because I've just been fiddling with them the whole time.
I felt bad bringing the Blitzcrank from home. He didn't have anything, so I'm like, all right, I'll bring him some toys.
So you got me 4 toys. A mushroom, a cupcake, like a Poro cupcake with its eyes bigger than the cake itself, and 2 Ziggs bombs.
It's a bad idea.
Yeah, look, I mean, I've been playing with it, but I feel like the paint's almost coming off, so it's just on my book. Anyway, in a game pause, sometimes you got to think to yourself, is it worth it? And for Dicubs, that fight was definitely worth it. Now, how do they build onto it?
It's such a strange thing. When they're that far behind, yes, the fight was worth it. Great fight from them. But how do they build on it? Because they have to look for the pretty much same fight. They have to look for the Scion ulti into the Yasuo ulti. They just have to hit 3 people or 4 people instead of 2 people. And it has to include both the Ezreal and Tahm. Because if you only hit Ezreal and not Tahm, Tahm's going to lead him away to safety. Ezreal's going to come back in, do a lot of damage, and it won't matter. So constantly look for those engages when Bombers come into your jungle, into the choke points, try and counter-engage. And if that isn't happening, leave Get Back off to the side lane. He's already shown he's happy, he's safe, he's able to do what he wants down there. He just needs the space to do that.
I guess on that note, Tegan, the longer these fights go, the better it looks for Bombers. with a Rise, with an Ezreal. No Ocean Drake, but the constant re-engage from these two would make it hard for Diacubs. They get one fight, but what else can they get? 5k gold now, slimmed by 1 with Baron life.
You're absolutely right that they're happy to just sort of let the game scale, but we are sort of overlooking the fact that Kai'Sa is on the table. We've seen before, Kai'Sa's a great champion to go into late game with. Very aggressive, very capable to put a team on her back and just start taking over. So while they do want to let the game sort of stall out and scale, they don't want to let Diacubs get too much breathing room and let the Kai'Sa really start scaling up with the Ezreal. Instead, they need to start looking to force on objectives. Don't just go into the jungle and take vision control for no real reason. These two wards here for Diacubs, they are great wards. They shouldn't be there. Bombers need to be aggressively clearing those out, dropping pink wards. We do see some pink wards on the top side, but right now it's not enough to bait Diacubs into a fight.
But right now there is clean vision on the Baron for both of these teams. The backside for Diacubs keeping safe, and I think I hear an Abyssal Void. This is going to call them off. Johnson and Katsuri. Katsuri's gone. He was deleted. The unstoppable Ram finds its way to Johnson. Blah. That's going to be the support going down as well.
I absolutely love that Sprenstarmer is the one going on these voyages. So often you wouldn't see the ADC going in because sending him in so deep is scary. But he's confident, he's aggressive, he goes in, they reap the rewards, get the mid in him. This will likely lead to Baron, maybe even another kill here.
But Biopanther's just taken too many hits. He gets rooted up. The Sion has to use the ultimate to get out. And yes, those are dead bodies. Let's go back. 5 members mid, they get the inhibitor, and Diacubs once again lose out.
Now, if they don't get the Baron here, it will likely fall pretty soon. There's so much pressure on the map. Look at that bot wave that Diacubs aren't taking. That's 3, 4, maybe 5 waves of minions that are going to nobody right now. Sion running down there, doesn't have ulti, doesn't have teleport. There is a good argument to be made right now for starting up this Baron instead of trying to bait and act like you are.
Ubisoft does not have the lens. He saw that Mystic shot. Johnson's going to spot it out as well. Another grand escape. Sugoi won't have anything to follow it through. Although the Void Seeker lands its mark for Bombers, they don't need to take any fight anytime soon. They're so far ahead, and Diacubs are just struggling to keep up.
I think Diacubs are going to have to rely on that Void Seeker, scouting out where they are. As Sugoi
wants to take the fight, he'll get one, get back onto it, but Devour from Iogus. Sugoi flashes away, and Diacubs still want to get the fight. Kai'Sa gets so much damage on this backline. Ubisoft and Get Back will get the kills, and 2 for Diacubs.
That's what they needed. Now they need to go for Baron. We saw earlier, Baron's a little scary, but if there's a time for them to attempt to come back into the game, either do Baron or get off it and get another fight going, because right now is pretty much what's going to make or break the game for Diacubs.
And they do this so quick with the Mountain Drake. Call of the Forward God again. Johnson trying to block it and doesn't. It goes through. Katsuri and Vipanther are still alive. The Baron now to 2,000. Sugoi in it. Sleepy on the backside. Hitting the Baron. No one's touched him, but it will be secured. Diacubs need to get out. Johnson running for his life. Biopanther there as well. Kai'Sa drops, and it's going to be a double going over. Bombers get 3. Baron on 2 members of Diacubs.
It doesn't matter that you lost 3. It might. They're looking to end.
Sprenstarmer actually flashed forward. He wanted to stop the back. Sugoi there with the Baron buff, or at least the defense from the Baron buff from Diacubs. Johnson and Biopanther. Treasy walking forward. The channel's there. 3 members, 4 members want to end the game for B52, but the Abyssal Voyage, Treasy almost going down. This is the 10th moment. Diacubs are struggling to hold on, but they will hold on.
It's a great idea. Sprenstarmer, like you said, looking to stop backs, and if he did, the game was over. Unfortunately, not able to do it. The Baron buffed minions and the 2 members just being there, able to stall them out. Now, having that Baron for Diacubs, Bombers are going to take control of the map. They'll get the Dragon, they'll get jungle camps, but the Diacubs can now sit on towers pretty happily. They can't really get pushed in. They can't really lose their last 2 remaining inners very easily. Top one will likely fall, but considering how low it is, but that bottom one should be a rock for the time being.
It's really a case of who goes in first, who has the call on the play. Bombers there. The re-engage after Baron. A Mountain Drake has gone over to them, so now for Bombers, they can start hitting these objectives, but Baron's down. There's no objective on the map, apart from those turrets for Bombers to take. But Diacubs, the defense should be quite easy with the help of Baron buff and the hold of mid-wave.
You're absolutely right. I feel like the next 2 minutes or so of the game is just going to be stalling unless someone gets caught out, clearing wards, Biopanther, that is pretty aggressive, taking out a ward that's not going to be very important for the next few minutes.
Doesn't care. He's going to use the Banner of Command top trees. He has to match this, but he can't. That should be a top lane turret. Sugoi has to rotate as well. It's very healthy, but at least with the Baron buff, should be able to get quite a lot from this.
Now, once Sion leaves, I feel like Diacubs should be looking to pull the trigger mid. They see two people top, get in there, try and take that tower, especially with the Baron buff. Yes, it's an inhib lane, so it's hard, but these are the calls that they need to be making to try and get back into this game.
You have a Kaiser who's 0, 2, and 4, and that's the difference there with the mid wave. Now finally breaking open the outer. Diacubs with 2 Baron buffs have utilized part of it, but not all of it. They can't do too much here.
They're caught in a little bit of a weird place now, though. Bombers recognizing this, running up mid, starting to take advantage of the fact that they are the stronger team right now. They know that they actually win these 5v5s as long as all 5 of them are there. So if they can catch a couple members out off to the side, that could be the game right now.
But 26 minutes in, Diacubs should be able to hold as Bombers walk away, prioritize towards the mid side, bottom side. That wave is pushing up and maybe opens up for Bombers. Rotation. It's pretty quick, it's pretty swift, and Bombers, I think, are just trying to get ahead of Diacubs, which isn't going to happen here.
Diacubs now getting their inhib back quite soon. Oh, on the other side, they're losing their Baron buff, so it'll be even harder for them to defend the remaining towers and that inhib when it does respawn.
For Bombers, they're on the edge of their first win. They just can't find it. Instead, the engage Biopanther off the side. The Glacial Fissure doesn't connect, but Get Back on the side goes in. Sprentstormer the target. They've found one. Get Back edging for his life. He'll get the double and does not die. The ultimate from Sugoi will not find its mark. On the side, Treasy trying to make something happen. He'll flash away. Sugoi and Sleepy trying to crunch in. Biopanther and Johnson making the grand escape as Treasy will not be able to get over the wall. Just uses his flash, and Diacubs, they've traded another fight.
Getback has been doing that all game. Finding the fights, skittering away from everyone on low health. I don't know how he managed to get out of Israel and get out alive. Got out very, very low, and they're doing it again and again. Finding these engages, it looked a little rocky at the start. Sion Ultimate not hitting anyone. But Getback got into the backline off, I believe, a Trundle Pillar on the Ezreal. Tarm got split up from him, takes down the Ezreal, and they slow the game down, stop the tower from falling, and buy themselves more time.
Get back and get these picks. He's got an Infinity Edge. He's got now the QSS. As soon as that Sterix gauge is up, you've got to say that for Get Back, as soon as he's in these fights, he has survivability to go with it. The Bombers, their lead shortens. Baron will be up soon, within that 2-minute mark. And I have to say that for Bombers, what an early start it was, but now they have to slow the acceleration of Diacubs with the Kaiser, with the Yasuo, who are starting to get huge.
While they need to do that, they also just need to execute a little bit better. We see another Sion engage here, another whiff. That's better by Bombers to just, when it happens, recognize and escape.
But that was a teleport. Sugoi teleported from top lane to the brush at Baron. So that's a commitment they're going to make. Bombers do not want to get caught out in a fight. And now with that teleport down, Baron's up in 1 minute 40. He's going to have to stay close by.
I think Bombers recognized if he did cancel that, there was a very real chance of Diacubs still engaging, and then Sugoi is completely out of the fight. Instead, he does finish the teleport, and they'll come up mid lane and probably get this mid inhibitor now that Sion Ultimate is down.
But do Diacubs want to fight once again? Ubisoft looks pretty keen on it, and there's no Biopanther ult. Maybe Bombers get this one for free.
I feel like they do. Ezreal's poke is pretty difficult to deal with. Like I said, no Sion Ultimate means no real big engaged threat from them. So they get it again. The question is, what do they get off it? Baron in 1 minute, Dragon in 1:10, and also a top tower that's very, very close to falling.
One of our longest running games, and Bombers and Diacubs. I think Diacubs have just been so dominant over the past couple of weeks. Bombers are making better decisions. They're showing their growth. It's all about the stars of tomorrow. Are they going to peek into this brush? 5 members strong. Sleepy cancels the back, and now to the top wave. It's getting dangerously low. The Bombers are still there.
I love this stack. This is brilliant, and it's going to pay off.
Ubisoft, you need to put something in there, but he's going to get the knock-up. They've found him out. Katsuri goes down. Ubisoft could be next, and the Ornhorn won't find one. Johnson, he's nommed up. He looks like a tasty, tasty man for a double kill, and Bombers, they do it again.
They can potentially end here. I think the safer play is to go top, take an extra inhib, but they are going to look for it. Katsuri down, Johnson down, both for 30 seconds. How do Diacubs defend? They need a huge Scion knock-up into a Yasuo ulti to even think about it.
Fire Panther still has the ultimate. The True Shot Barrage not going to do any damage to Windwall to block, and Fire Panther taking so much here as Bombers, as a 5-man unit. They crush on this first Nexus turret. Get Back hasn't done anything just yet. Still has the ultimate, will not hit that Windwall, or should I say still tempers. The second Nexus turret under threat. Bombers are getting dangerously close again, and the last defense, Get Back hits the ultimate, but for the Bombers, are they going to find their first win? Ubisoft says no, and this is going to be absolutely huge as the cleanup comes through. Treasy doing so much work, but for the Bombers, they may have just done enough as Ubisoft is the last target. He'll walk away, and for B52, this week, should be their first win.
The Nexus is open, just hit the Nexus, the supers are in, everybody's dead. There is no way anyone can defend. Ubisoft does his best, gets taken down, and Bombers find that first victory.
That was Bombers' very first victory in the OCS, and Diacubs will be 2-1, and what a convincing game from the Bombers.
I'm not sure I would say convincing.
Well,
I would say they were in the lead the whole time, but there are a couple mistakes. But when it came down to it, stacking that bush, being very patient, very deliberate, did end up with them winning.
Bombers Academy. Just when you count them out, when you say, hey, look, there's been some issues with this roster. On the back of Treasy, that started things. But then it came down to Mr. Jungler, Mr. B52 himself. And on a Graves pick, I think that kind of cemented it as well.
I would say if I was going to look for someone, it wouldn't even be Sleepy. It would be Sprenstarmer.
Yeah.
He was aggressive all game, only dying in the final 2 team fights. He was unkillable until then, and he was such a threat that they had to focus everything on him. Letting Treasy do all that damage in team fights. If Ezreal didn't die, they won the fight. It was that simple. There was no question about it. So you have Get Back going in, you have the whole team focusing on him, allowing Treasy to do all the damage that he was doing, allowing him to sit back, get all of his rotations off, and pretty much freely hit the enemy team.
Pretty much allowing him to get back as we have a look at those results. And for Diacubs, 2-1 now. It's been a pretty spicy start to the Thursday, Tiga.
I tell you what, we started off with an absolute cracker of a game in Intuition Crimson. A lot closer than a lot of people would have expected. Moved on to Chiefs Academy Tectonic, another one that was pretty close, with Chiefs looking a bit shaky, but ending up taking the game.
So Diacubs won't join up Chiefs Academy and Intuition being undefeated, and right now leading the charge for the OCS. And we've got a couple of teams to keep our eyes on. I think for Legacy Genesis and teams like QUT, as well as Matt, I'm just going to name them all. There's a lot of teams to watch here, Tiga.
I mean, like I said coming in, there were a lot of teams that I was counting out that have started showing up. Diacubs with the 2 wins.
Yeah.
Almost on 3 today. They showed a lot of resilience in that game against Bombers, and they have Bombers starting to get the ball rolling. They needed that win. They've lost 2 already in 2 games that they would have rather win, obviously, but feel like they were almost necessities if they want to place highly in the bracket at the end.
They do, because it's not too late. It's only week 3, and you've got plenty of weeks to go here in the OCS. Speaking of, week number 4, sure to be a hoot once again. Chiefs Academy will be taking on Crimson Gaming. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is the game.
Unfortunately, it's on Wednesday, so you'll have to catch it on the community cast, followed by Diacubs versus Darksided. A little bit of a reprieve for Diacubs taking on a team that's on 0 wins, but on Darksided's side, they've just seen how to beat Diacubs, so they're going to be looking for that first win there.
I think for us, we'll be looking towards that Bombers Academy in Ground Zero, just purely because of Bombers Academy performance today. Order Academy and Intuition, see if Intuition could be disrupted. And 3-0 as a start is dangerous, and the Chiefs Academy and Crimson still the best looking one on the board there.
I actually want to see Mammoth Academy versus Avant Academy. Mammoth are a team that has looked inconsistent at the best of times. Now, they need to come into the next few weeks really solidifying their roster. They are a strong roster. We know who they are. They are a lot of ex-OPL players who are strong players on their own.
Yeah.
And they should be fighting with Intuition, with Chiefs, with Crimson. And instead, it seems like they're very, very shaky right now, and they need to work out all the kinks. So they have a really, really good opportunity to do this right now in next week.
I think next week will be one to look forward to. However, for tonight, that is it for me and Bradley Teagun Seymour. We will see you next week, 6 p.m. on the Thursday for more OCS action.